and we're live here with former Sergeant Stafford, old Bobby.
One of the crew that came in from another unit that we always talk about. But
he was our at least he was. I was his driver for a while.
We both were. We switched that job.
Yeah.
Taught me about religion. In fact, I had grown up in church my whole life and opened my mind to religion because we were on Red Beach and I read the entire Bible. And then he further educated me on some of the nonsense that occurs in politics and life, basically. Changed me as a person, by the way. Thank you.
I guess that's cool.
I told a funny story about you a couple episodes ago. About I think we were sitting on some bullshit cordon during the trap package or the raid package or something, and I was like, "Can I get out of the truck?" Because I was a driver, and you're like, "No, driver stays in the truck." And so I just badgered the shit out of you until you were like, "Get out of the fucking truck." And I was like, "Deal."
Damn.
Was that the one when I took us like half a fucking grid square in the wrong direction? Well, we were going the right direction. I just stopped early, and I'm looking down the hill like, this has got to be the town. This has got to be the town. LAR's like fucking 500 meters one way, and they're like, no, you're over here. And I'm like, fuck.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, no, it was me. Like, my fucking GPS shit's out, and I was like, no, I got this. I can land nav. Yeah, not from a vehicle, because I fucking sucked.
Hey, genetic testing says that I actually have bad genetics for direction, so you got to check that 23andMe out. Like, literally, it explains a fucking lot. Okay, they got to like, you move a lot in your sleep. You're hyperactive because of your genetics. I'm like, So you got to check that 23andMe out. That's not a bad route. Not a bad route.
Good shit.
So we didn't have a lot of preparation here with you. We were supposed to have a guest today, and he no-showed us.
AKA Jeff Boyardee.
Yeah, old fucking first sergeant. Never mind, because he might still be. I'm not going to say it, but he might still come on. But
we're a little upset that he didn't show. We were very looking forward to having a first sergeant of a Marine Corps has had to have done a lot of shit to come onto our show. You know.
We were not big fans of one another. But he did do me, well, he kind of fucked me, but he also did me a favor, like when I was trying to go to college, so he helped me get out early for the early release shit they were doing. That's how I did, like I got out like fucking 90 days early, so.
Yeah, and I just hope, I'm not holding any animosity towards some of the things that went there. If you ever do see these first sergeant, I still want you to come on, whatever, and talk about it.
I mean, that was a long fucking time ago. Mm-hmm. I remember him distinctly because there were things about him I liked because y'all's old first sergeant was ate the fuck up. I'm sorry, but
I love
I got there and I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? And then we went on that hike and he went into like fucking, I don't know what the fuck he went, a trance, fucking schizophrenic disassociation. I don't know exactly what that was.
Was that the one where we were all mounted? And like they were hiking, like everyone was, and like half the battalion fell out.
Maybe it was no. We hiked that because I remember me and Gunny Homer were both hiking that, and I got up. We went up Iron Mike, and I got half the way up. I was in front of you guys. Gunny Homer was in the back, and I stopped and turned around, and Gunny Homer's like waving at me. So I was like, okay, I'll hang out until he gets up here, and he gets up to me, and he's like, get him up the fucking mountain. And I was like, who? And he turns and points to him, and I was like, okay. And I mean, he was talking about his back, and I had heard that his back was really fucked up, and that he was in a bad fucking way for sure. So then there's a lot of other stuff that goes into that particular guy, but I just now thought about him. I had not thought about him or the other first sergeant for a while. So but yeah, Jeff wasn't a bad dude. He's just we had different ways of looking at the Marine Corps. So
I think he might have been a little over his head coming to an infantry battalion. And
I think there were a lot of staff NCOs in his position that did that and didn't necessarily like think about what they were getting into. Oh, all Marines are the same. Well, yes, and I mean it's like all Marines are riflemen. I mean, we all know it's bullshit, but the outside world doesn't know it's bullshit, and sometimes the other side of the Marine Corps doesn't know that's bullshit. So that is what it is.
Yeah, we had Matt Sergeant Henderson on, and he kind of explained why the first sergeants want to kind of come to a grunt unit. Just it's almost like having they want that to be in their in their portfolio, saying, oh, well, I was in a grunt unit, and
I mean it makes sense.
Yeah, and they don't really think of the fact that the I guess the way the Marine Corps is laid out doesn't always extend into that job, into being into a grunt. Just because you have the rank doesn't mean you get the billet, and just because you have
absolutely,
and just because you have the billet doesn't mean you get the rank. It's not.
True story.
It's off. It's your performance and the respect that the men have for you, and the respect that you show the men.
No, absolutely.
So I think with you, we'll probably start, the same that we start with, the other guys was, why did you join? Did you want to fight that dragon wearing dress blues, fucking like in the commercial?
Well, I don't know if I told you guys this when I was in or when I was with you guys. I was a little ROTC Nazi, like one of those little RTC kids. I was from a military town. I had a military background. My uncle was actually assistant commandant of the Marine Corps a while back. And so I knew I was going to join the Marine Corps, and that was just what I was going to do. That was going to be my career. I was going to do at least 20 years and stay as long after that as I possibly could. It wasn't about fighting the dragon so much, but I mean, I think like any of us that actually joined, there was also something there to prove. Like, am I tough enough to do this? Can I make it through this thing? And then the other part was, I mean, the early 2000s after 9/11, like I was sitting in English class when 9/11 happened. And so I watched that. And then as I'm coming through SOI, they did the invasion. And like fucking, I wanted to go fight. Like, I didn't want to be those guys that, when it was all said and done, that I didn't do my part. And then for me, I've always been a little more extreme on the whole fucking doing my part. If I'm going to do my part, I'm not going to fucking count like fucking rocks somewhere. I'm going to have a rifle and I'm going to go fucking fight. And that was kind of my mindset going into it.
So what year did you join?
03.
So, okay. So, and you're an East Coast kid, right?
Yep.
So you were getting, because I was in California, I was in like 7th grade when 9/11 happened, and we were delayed. It was, we're 3 hours different, so it was like you guys were real time 9/11. We were 3 hours. It was like holy shit, like what happened? So you you knew you were going into the military from a pretty young age, sounds like.
Yeah, from about the time I was in 8th grade, I kind of made up my mind what I was going to do. So, and I knew what branch I was going to be in and everything. So, like, I looked at the Army for a little bit because my uncle, my step uncle, my stepdad's brother, he was a Ranger, and he's doing all kinds of cool shit in Afghanistan, and I got to hear about some of the stuff that he was doing, and so I seriously considered it, but I never strayed too far from the Marine Corps idea, like the idea of being in the Marine Corps. So.
Okay. Caldwell, can you take over? I got to do something real quick. Oh, I think he's talking to his wife.
It's all good.
Joey, we lost your audio. Can you give me a second real quick? I got to take the kid up.
Yeah, good. Do what you got to do, man.
I'll be right back.
Technical difficulties solved.
All right, so you joined in 03, which is the same year as the invasion of Iraq.
Yep.
And
I was in SOI. I remember sitting in the you guys had the same lounges that we did. It was a Saturday, and we were sitting in the lounge when they were like first putting the flags up over some of the fucking cities and stuff like that. And all my SOI instructors kept telling me how fucking lucky I was and everything else like that.
Yeah, because they were stuck there for another 2 years or
Yeah.
at least.
So, and they knew exactly where the fuck we were going. So.
Well, yeah, and yeah. So you leave us, and you're 52, right?
51.
I was actually a 51.
Okay.
It's an interesting story, and not a very long one. The Marine Corps was having that shift when they first thought about changing the way that 51s did their job, which was basically to just do breaching and rockets, and they were going to take the Javelin away and give it to the 52s. Well, that's what they ended up doing. And when they did that, well, they didn't have any 52s that knew how to use a fucking Javelin. Not that if you can figure out a fucking tow, you can figure out a Javelin. Javelin's probably easier, but
yeah.
Guys in the fleet got a choice. I was a fucking instructor at Paris Island at the time, and somebody somewhere just made the choice for me. And I actually fought that fight originally, and then it was actually Battalion XO at Paris Island that I worked for was actually my Battalion XO when I was in 3-1. And he's like, this might be a growth opportunity. You can go work with a weapons company. And at the time, my goal was to be a gunner. And he's like, this is actually working towards your advantage because you're going to have the experience on both sides. You might get a chance. You'll be a section leader before you know it. You'll be a fucking platoon sergeant right after that, and don't even worry about it and roll with it. So I was like, yeah, fuck it, why not?
So you were 51 and then transitioned into being a 52, basically. So you're 51 and a half.
Yep, pretty much.
You'd probably maintain the 51 cutting score, which is absolute garbage. It's like the highest cutting score you could possibly have, right? 51?
Oh yeah.
If it's open.
It was a ball kicker to get fucking promoted to corporal. But after that, everything was fucking cake.
So for people that don't know, 51 is basically an assaultman. They're breaching and shit like that, rockets.
Yep.
Demolitions, correct?
Sort of thing.
Yep. Explosive breaching, mechanical breaching. Although I think other than what I learned in school as far as mechanical breaching is concerned, I didn't do any of that shit. Everything during my first 2 deployments was fucking, if you got up there, you blew it up. So we were not fucking around or wasting time.
You graduate SOI and you go to 3-1, correct? The Thundering Third?
No, actually, somebody at Headquarters Marine Corps fucked up, and they sent me and everybody from my class to Hawaii. So I was with 3rd Marines for about a month until they unfucked their mistake, and then they turned around and sent us a penalty. And that's how I ended up 3-1.
So you got a nice little month-long vacation in Hawaii.
If you call getting, what happens to a boot. We were boots, and we got to Hawaii, and you got a bunch of Marines who got nothing else fucking better to do. Literally nothing else better to do because they live on the island. They can barely afford to go out and hang out. And fresh meat shows up. And we showed up at the flight, we flew from Jacksonville to fucking DFW, from DFW to LAX, from LAX to Hawaii. And by the time we got there, it was like fucking 10:30 at night. It's dark outside. We're all in our fucking alphas. We're running up to the fucking barracks, making us do the sea bag drag to the fucking barracks. We get to the barracks. Some guy, 3 people in front of me, didn't know the fucking answer to some question some corporal asked him. Some fucking senior lance corporal from nowhere comes out cold cocks and knocks this dude out fucking cold. And I'm just like, oh shit, this is the Marine Corps.
Welcome to the fleet, motherfucker.
Yeah, and it stayed like that for about a week and a half till they realized that somebody had fucked up somewhere. Some sergeant major came out, told us about how much he'd love to keep us, but he can't. And that as soon as they could, they'd get us off the island and get us to Camp Pendleton.
So and then you get hazed in 3-1, right? You get
trained, Andrew. Yeah. It's trained.
Trained. Sorry, you get trained in 3-1.
Exactly, trained like a motherfucker.
So just damage your ability to make friends forever.
You remember Horno? Before there was barracks over there used to be a football field, and we did gun drills till you couldn't run anymore. So, and then go find that rock.
The knowledge.
I've always had kind of a smart mouth, and I found a lot of rocks.
So, but your seniors, had they been deployed? Did they participate in the invasion or anything?
Yeah, I got there right as they were getting back from the invasion, because 3-1 had been on a Westpac, came back from the Westpac, was on post-deployment leave, got recalled to go to the invasion, and then came back.
Okay.
And so a bunch of these guys had been stop-lossed, and they were pissed. So the ones that didn't immediately go out and drug pop stayed there and trained the fuck out of us. I mean, I guess it made it tough. So
how long was your first workup from hitting 3-1 to?
I got there in December and we deployed, I want to say, in May. And so like I got there and there was maybe 3 weeks of downtime till right after the new year.
And that's 03 going to 04?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we got a couple more boot drops, so it wasn't as bad on us at that point, because now they felt like it was time to just fuck with these people. Then we got a bunch of guys. Actually, they ended up getting a bunch of senior Marines from 3rd Marines, guys that had been in Afghanistan, and those dudes really knew what the fuck they were doing. That was kind of awesome. And then we went to March Air Force Base, George Air Force Base. I don't know if you went to any of these places. We went to March, didn't we?
To March.
They're both bases up in the high desert where they like to do mount training. It was all these old fucking Air Force BEQs and stuff. Mm-hmm. And originally they just let us fuck those places up, man. Like we were driving tanks through buildings. That was the first building I ever fucking blew up. Like I can use way more C4 than I needed to, and I blew a whole fucking like 3-person fucking apartment into like nothing. Yeah, it was a good time. And then we went to CAX. We did a full fucking CAX.
Wait, they let you blow shit up on Pendleton like that?
No,
it was on George Air Force Base.
George Air Force. Okay.
Yeah, I have a buddy that was in 1-5 in the same. He participated in Phantom Fury with you guys, and they did. He told me stories about going up to the old Air Force BEQs and doing mount training and shit like that.
Yep. So we did a bunch of shit up there. We trained with some off.
Uh-oh.
You're cutting out.
He's gone. Technical difficulty episode.
Yeah.
It's actually the regimental commander of 5th Marines.
So you cut out for a second. We heard saying about firing a small.
Did I? No, I was talking about I said the colonel that we had at the time was really good, Colonel Buell. Like he would work the fuck out of us, and then he'd give us like a 96.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of that interspersed, and then we came back. We did pre-deployment leave, and then we got on a fucking plane and flew to fucking Kuwait. So and I remember that door to that fucking aircraft opening and me feeling like I got kicked in the fucking chest. It was middle of the night and it was still hot as fuck and humid as shit. And that was like back when Camp Liberty and shit was still open.
So yeah, basically I like to tell people, what is the weather? And it's like, well, imagine somebody's blowing a hairdryer in your face with full heat on and then throwing handfuls of sand at you into the hairdryer. That's basically what it's like when you step off that fucking airplane.
Yeah.
And it's immediate. You're immediately sweating. You're immediately fucking, plus you're carrying all your shit. You're running everywhere. And that was, this was in 2008. So you were there 4 years prior.
The weather didn't change that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly.
They really should have added in our Marine Corps hymn that we would fight in every miserable climb and place. Just throw the miserable in there. Can't be nice.
I always had a theory that they kept us the way they did to keep us pissed off. Because if we weren't pissed off, we'd be the army. So
yeah,
I have a theory. I occasionally help pack care packages that go overseas. And one of the rules is like the Pop-Tarts, you leave them in the box so they don't get crushed. And I make it a point that I take them out of there, out of the box, so that they get as crushed as possible, because a pissed off Marine is a good Marine.
Exactly. Yeah.
And nobody gets it except for the other Marines, and they go, "Yep, that works."
Anger becomes us.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And it was I still stand by that. It's kind of a necessary evil for defense of what's out there. People don't realize that we have a very beautiful country and other people want this, and you know. Yeah. So I think it's a necessity, but it does have its you know, there may be a better way, but it does, you know. But anyway.
So you hit Kuwait, and can you take us from Kuwait to, you know, as far as you?
Well, we stayed in Kuwait for probably a week, I think, getting our shit together, figuring out exactly what we were going to do, how we were going to get into Iraq, because originally they were going to have us convoy all the way from Kuwait City. Well, not Kuwait City, but like right outside of Kuwait City, all the way up to Al Anbar. And thank God somebody fucking talked whoever was going to make that plan out of it. And we took C-130s and they flew us into TQ. And then from TQ, we were there for 2 days. And then we all loaded up in 7 tons. And I swear it probably had been 1 o'clock in the morning. We took a fucking convoy from there all the way to a place called Al Karma, which is right outside Fallujah. It's toward the south of Fallujah. And I don't remember a whole lot of that fucking convoy. I was bobbing for cock most of the time because I'm a brand new fucking Lance Corporal trying to stay awake.
Yeah. And here's what bobbing for cock looks like.
Huh?
Here's what bobbing for cock looks like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for people out there, it means sleeping.
Sleeping.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, that means falling the fuck asleep on post. Because we're in 7 tons, and this is before up armor.
Oh, shit.
We're in 7 tons that's stacked like fucking 3 high with sandbags on either side. So there's like, but they still got the fucking troop racks in the middle. So you don't really have any room. You're sitting fucking Indian style. Your fucking knees are basically touching your tits. You got your fucking gear on. And so like you're all constrained. And after a while that becomes fucking comfortable because you're still sweating your balls off. You're hot. You're wet. You're fucking sweating. You can't see shit anyway. Only every other person has a fucking set of NEGs, by the way. And most of them were 7 Bravos. At one point, I think...
The big ones.
Yeah.
The fucking shitty ones. Okay.
I had a pair of 17 Bravos, which is the ones that you mount onto things, because those were supposed to go on my small, and I had them ghetto rigged on my M16A2. And then every other dude... And the guy that didn't have the NVGs would have the PEC too. See, that's how fucked up this stuff was. Like, hey, aim to your left, you know, that type of shit. Like, fucking, you're missing that sort of thing. And so we get to this little camp called, it wasn't Camp Fallujah. We had what later became known as Camp Fallujah, we all knew we called it the Mech. And we were in a little camp outside of there to start with. And we got there at night. It had to have been like fucking 5, 6 o'clock in the morning by the time we finally got there.
Was there a lake? Did you guys have the lake? Was that because we were based in Bahariya, which was basically right next to Camp Fallujah, but it had a man-made lake.
The lake was on the other side. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. No, we were on the other side, closer to the town itself of Al Karma, and they had to. We maybe took 3 or 4 days to get our shit together. And I remember because the very first night that we were actually there, when we pulled in, we unloaded all the fucking trucks, and about 5 minutes later, fucking sirens go off because we're getting mortared. And so we all run underneath, like, okay, you know that feeling you have the first couple times when you're all freaked out and scared about like mortars and shit like that. So we're all underneath the fucking concrete barricades, fucking bundled up. I'm thinking, fuck, what did I get myself into? Little did I know, fucking 3 months from there, I would be sitting in a cot in a fucking like corrugated metal fucking shack, hearing, "Hey, we're getting mortared," and just grabbing my flak, pulling it over me, and go, "I hope it's not me."
Yeah. That's so true. It is so funny. It's like the first patrol, you're shitting yourself, and then
Yeah.
we were patrolling with like Staff Sergeant E, and then somebody shoots at us, and everybody fucking takes cover, and Staff Sergeant E's like, "What the fuck y'all doing? He's right over there. Kill his ass." You know, it's like, so yeah, I remember that. Scary as shit, by the way.
So we went from there into the town, and we actually relieved 1-5. And 1-5 was at, I want to say, 50%. There were sergeants and staff sergeants standing posts with fucking PFCs, because right before we had got there, they tried the first invasion of Fallujah. And they didn't support them correctly. They didn't have Artie. They had limited casts, bunch of other shit, and they got about like fucking not even a quarter of the way into the city, and then they pulled them out for political reasons. It was bullshit. And so what I'm trying to say is a bunch of guys needlessly died for political bullshit, which is probably something that me and Caldwell have talked about sitting in the Humvee. So we relieved those guys. We did a left seat, right seat for a little while, and then we started doing foot patrols and patrol bases for probably till September. And during that time, a bunch of things happened. The Iraqi police station that was inside Fallujah within like the first month and a half we were there got overran, and like everybody got massacred. Like all the people that were in that motherfucker died. The insurgents like completely took over the city. And then Ramadi happened, and the fifth, I think it was 2-5. It was either 2-5 or 3-5 took Ramadi. And everything that had fucking been in Ramadi squirted out and went immediately to fucking Fallujah.
I think it was at 2-4.
I know it was in the 5th Marine Unit. I couldn't tell you often. I actually have a buddy, Eric Shelby. He was with the 5th Marine Unit that took Ramadi, but I can't remember the battalion. Like, I mean, obviously wasn't one single battalion, took an entire fucking Iraqi city, but I think it was either 2 or 3-5. 2-4 could have been there. I don't know, man.
Well, I think Master Sergeant Henderson, he was in, I think he said 2-4, and then he got orders to go to recruiting, and then they ended up going to Ramadi, and he lost a bunch of guys there.
Oh, really?
Okay. I think he knew. You remember the snipers that got taken out on the roof?
Yeah.
Those were his guys. I think he trained some of those guys.
That sucks.
Yeah. So back to so basically, Fallujah is kind of the heart of this area. It's a giant city, and then there's these outskirting cities, and then as the Marines came through and took out these cities, basically they all like rats ran into Fallujah.
Well, they had a couple of key cities, and as I remember, Fallujah, Ramadi, and I forget what the third city was. Shit. I mean, the Sunni Triangle was
Durka.
Yeah.
Fucking Durka.
It was 3 separate cities, and I cannot remember the third one for the life of me. I want to say it was Haditha, but Haditha was basically the dam. And if you control the dam, you control the access to power to pretty much the entire region south of
I Googled the Sunni Triangle. I got Baghdad, Ramadi, and Tikrit.
Okay, so
does that sound right?
That sounds about right. Yeah,
it's been like just fucking to be, 20 years. No big whoop.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's been a hot minute, so you'll have to excuse me, but that sounds about right. I mean, that whole area, like the reason they gave the Marine Corps Al Anbar, in my personal opinion, is because they knew like some bad shit's gonna have to happen. Generally, when bad shit needs to happen, we send these dudes or we send some special forces unit. So
the Marine Corps is definitely cheaper.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and Fallujah is,
and there's a lot more of us.
A lot more of us, and we're angrier.
Fallujah is in between Ramadi and Baghdad.
Yeah.
So that would make sense. That you want to control Fallujah.
And I don't even give a shit about like the politics of it, tactics. You just said that you had like so who got I want to know more about who the shit got slaughtered. You said who got wiped out now? Like, was it part of your team that got wiped out, or?
No, all right. 1st Battalion, 5th Marines was in the AO before us, obviously. And them and a couple other units, I don't know all of whose exactly they were, but there was an initial, like, Operation Phantom Fury, like, was the second invasion of Fallujah. The first one was a fucking ill-fated expedition that wasn't planned well, and it got a lot of people fucking killed.
And some you don't know where the hell is
I
that?
don't know a lot about it, honestly.
Yeah.
I've met a couple guys in 5th Marine units, and they don't talk about it a whole lot about it, and I don't blame them because it would piss me off too.
I'm gonna get my buddy who was on 1-5. I'm gonna get him on here, and we could talk about the first his trip into the city.
Yeah.
That'd probably be that'd be a good thing.
Because he has some fucking stories and shit. It's not good.
So, all right. So okay, we take over. The first couple months, probably up till June, was all about just securing the AO, getting out, doing foot patrols, and seeing what we had to deal with. And like, we got mortared, like, basically every time you heard call to prayer, you knew you were going to get mortared. Right before or right after. Didn't know exactly when, but it was going to happen. And we lived in this place called we called it the Sugar Shack. It was actually a NATO food for oil, like, exchange complex where they housed all the grain and sugar and rice and stuff that they would get from other countries. And we lived in that fucking thing. We fortified it. We did patrols in and out of it. And then we would do patrol bases outside of it, which is like, 2 Humvees and like a fucking squad of fucking Marines. The Humvees would fucking either stay static at the CP while we went out, did our foot patrol, and then secured the area. And then they'd bring the Humvee in, and we set up a patrol base for the night. And then we moved to the next place the next night. And we moved to the next place the next night. And everything kind of fell into a rhythm for probably about 2 or 3 months, like I said, until about June. And then they decided that we needed to build up the police station, which just happened to be across the street, and train the Iraqi police for the area. And so that's what we did. And I'd say that went on for another couple months. Like, we fortified the fuck out of that thing. And that was where I got in my first firefight. I'm not going to name any names, but what I found out later, I didn't know at the time, my very first firefight was because of somebody else's ND. Somebody didn't know how to properly fucking load and clear a 240, popped off a round, and then 3 dudes in a fucking Iraqi taxi come fucking screaming out toward our VCP that we had going into the police station. Well, because I failed to mention this, by this time we had moved out of the Sugar Shack and completely took control of this police station, where the Iraqi police would live on one side and we would live on the other. And all of Kilo Company would run operations outside of this thing. Abu Ghraib prison was run by our Lima company, and our India company was down the road at this schoolhouse. And, but anyways, back to the whole firefight thing. So I hear this bang, and this right during post change. My buddy Bubba's on top of post 1, it's the 3rd story on top of the police station, and all it is like the little fucking stairwell box. And on top of that box, we have a bunk bed that's reinforced with sandbags, got a plywood sheet on top, reinforced with more fucking sandbags, and one of the little fucking piece of shit telescoping ladders. You know what I'm talking about? The ones that you could pull out, and half the time they would fall, because that happened to me like 3 or 4 times. Anyways, so I start going, and I hear that bang, and I was like, Bubba, did you hear that? And he's like, yeah. Oh, shit, they're coming. I hear him go, oh, shit, they're coming. Oh, Bubba's from Salisbury, North Carolina, all right? He's country as fuck. And so he starts screaming, there they are. And I was like, well, fucking Bubba, shoot them. I can't see them. And then all of a sudden he starts getting lit up. Like his entire fucking front section of the post just starts getting lit up. And then somebody over there on the fucking corner is getting lit up. And so I'm like, all right, fuck. I get on the ground and I start fucking low crawling toward the fucking edge of the building, see what I can see. And I look down to my left and my platoon sergeant, whom I'm not going to name, is in the fucking complete prone position. Like he's just not moving. He's like, Staff Sergeant, we're getting shot at. He's like, I know. Well, actually, he was a sergeant at the time. He's like, I know. I don't know what to do. And I was like, did he just say that? Did he just really tell me he didn't know what the fuck to do? So anyways, I crawl over to the front of the building and I could see these guys. Post 1 is finally starting to fucking return fire. I start returning fire, and I don't know. It couldn't have lasted that long. All I know is there's 2 guys just like hanging backwards outside of the fucking window, and the taxi drives. And so everything gets done. We change post, and there's fucking like nobody talked about it for the longest time until fucking years later. Like literally that night, everybody was like, shit, did you see what happened? I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I got shot at. I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure.
we all like, pretty sure he just killed a man.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of something like, hey, Kip, did you just kill a man?
That's not funny, but I mean, yeah, it's fucking hilarious. That is fucking, that's awesome.
So, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. That dude was probably dead several times. So anyways, that happens. That gets permeated with, patrol after patrol. I mean, kind of the rhythm that you get into when it's like, fuck, I got to get up. I got to go on patrol. And by this point, we had a rotation. And you would do 2 weeks, 3 weeks of patrol, 2 weeks of patrol bases, 1 week of cop security. And then you would go and have 3 days of what they called R&R, which means they sent you to Camp Fallujah. Well, it was called the Mech at the time. And, you could fucking wash your ass and go to the PX and spend money on fucking smokes and dip and shit like that.
And take a shit in
a
decent
on a real toilet instead of
real
fucking the random shit that they had set up.
Did you guys have to burn shit and use wag bags? But was this before wag bags? The sophisticated.
Oh, this is before wag bags.
Oh my god, we had such sophisticated technology.
And then you would have to pour diesel in there and then stir, and diesel is surprisingly hard to ignite.
It sure is.
Yeah,
JPA,
it's a pain.
yeah.
Oh wait, I mean you guys know this.
Yeah, no, go into it though. Go into it. Yeah, this is for everybody else. So. You already know, but
literally, you'd have to get like a nice level of diesel before you could think to actually get it lit. Because if not, you're just like sticking it into the wet shit, and then it's not doing anything. It's gonna fucking put your flame out.
This is for you action movie junkies that you think you could just take any kind of flammable material. No,
all the fucking Call of Duty guys are like, fucking I'm gonna be fucking badass one day. No, you're not.
What happens if you shoot a diesel gas tank? Even maybe with what happens if you shoot a diesel gas tank? It's just gonna leak out. It's not gonna explode. Yeah, it's not. It's fake.
Yeah, exactly.
And also the action shit that you do, the running and gunning and shit, it makes up, a small percentage of your time because you are otherwise burning shit or fucking filling sandbags. Somebody has to fill all those sandbags,
That come down after one shot.
I think I heard combat described once as fucking hours of boredom followed by fucking moments of sheer terror, and that's exactly what it is. Like, fucking holy shit and fuck. So, what are you doing? Well, I'm gonna go to the porta shit and I'm gonna jack off. Oh, okay, cool. Sounds good. See you later.
The adrenaline boner.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you get an adrenaline boner. Yep.
But so we did those months of stuff, and then come August we started getting the fucking rumors that we were gonna actually hit Fallujah, and then come September we started doing feints on the city. And so like the whole battalion would fucking gear up, do all the shit that they were gonna do, and we'd go out and pretend like we were gonna do something to them. Like we'd get real close, we'd fire some artillery into the city or in the outskirts, take out some of their OPs that they had set up, and some of the smaller fucking, I don't even know, you describe them as towns, but just fucking couple buildings in the middle of the fucking desert, but you could still see Fallujah itself.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember one specifically because we're getting fucking sniper fire from this building, and me and my A gunner are running across fucking this asphalt road that you can actually, it's so fucking hot outside that we're leaving boot prints in the asphalt. That's how fucking hot it was. And all of a sudden we start getting mortared. And me and my A-Goat are going to run to the other side of this fucking, and it's an elevated road. It's a road on top of a berm. And I run and I hit the other side and I actually biffed it real hard. And kind of like, luckily it was soft sand and I just kind of like fucking ass over tea kettle rolled and slid down the embankment. And then I hear right behind me. And I turn around and I can see the fins of fucking mortar. And I'm just like, I should be dead right now. Like, I should legitimately be dead, but I'm in shock. I don't know exactly what to do right now. And my A-gunner comes running by. He's like, dude, fucking retard, get up, run. So I run away from that, and we go fucking hang out in some fucking secured area. And then fucking our sniper platoon got to have a bunch of fun just smoke checking fucking all the guys that they had in their little fucking OPs. That was pretty cool. But,
dude, it's nice to hear you actually have emotion. Whenever you were with us, there's no sign of emotion. Every now and then you'd have signs of like caring. You definitely showed signs of caring about your fucking Marines. It's not what I'm saying, but you were void of emotion. I never, like, you saying you had feelings before combat shocks me.
well,
that's not a bad thing.
Remember,
fear is a universal.
Remember though, 1-4 is where Marines go to die. That's where your career goes to die.
You know, and the funniest part about that is, I know we're getting off topic, but we had a couple guys that came from 1-4. What I guess I'll describe as the golden age. Those dudes had their fucking shit wired tight. They were great. And honestly, on the other side of that, you guys were never the fucking problem. And me and Gunny Homer talked about that a lot. The head shed was the fucking problem in 1-4. It was not the Marines. Because even, God, what's that kid's name? He was the guy, he got busted down from corporal to lance corporal.
Couple of them.
Specific.
Yeah, there's a couple of them motherfuckers.
He was a fucking big, yoked up fucking Hispanic kid. No.
Wait, shit, I can't think of it. There's several.
Leon?
Leon.
He was lance to, he got court-martialed.
Yeah.
I actually love that kid. I don't know what he
Leon.
did. I really don't know what he did.
But
I liked his outlook on life. And honestly, when you put him in charge of something, it got done. And it got done correctly. So I had a lot of respect for him. And I understand, like, whatever he did, or maybe he did get fucked, maybe he didn't. Maybe he fucked up. I mean, I fucked up. So
I would say it got blown out of proportion, and people with too much shit on their collar found out about what happened, and they basically tried to make an example out of him, and he said, fuck you, I'm not going to be your poster boy.
Yeah. And it's also the presidential change definitely has to have something to do with that.
No, because it started when Bush was in office. It started before the election.
So Mothers of America came through then. Drill instructor mentioned Mothers of America as an association several fucking times. Had no idea it was going to have such a huge effect in our time anyway. Thought we were just going to shrug it up like, fuck the Mothers of America. We're kill them all. No.
yeah, no, I got you.
All right, so you guys are fainting in the city. Basically,
okay.
you're disguising your guys' attack, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Which direction we're going to come from? Because we kept going east. We went east. We went west. We went south. We went south. We went east. And little did I know we were going to attack from the north.
And you said you were in Hilo?
Hilo Company, yeah.
Oh shit.
We were a Hilo Company. I learned all these fucking interesting ways to fucking extract from a helicopter, and I didn't see one fucking helicopter my entire time. That I rode in my entire first deployment. So, okay, so after we did all the feints, everything calmed down for a little bit, and we went back to the police station. When we knew shit was getting real, one day, all of the police guys that we had trained were there, and the next day they were fucking gone. So we knew something was coming, something was up.
Yeah.
And I think the day after that happened, what was left of the police officers, we used to do a regular game of, not hockey, but soccer in the middle of the big courtyard that we had at the police station between Marines and the local Iraqi army guy. I mean, the Iraqi police guys. And they always kick the shit out of us because those guys are fucking stupid good at soccer and don't even understand it. Why you would want to play a game like that in heat and in the sand is beyond me, but hey, whatever. But one day in the middle of that game, me and my fucking fire team buddy, Joe Hammond, who's actually my best friend, he's the guy that got me the job I was talking about when I moved to St. Louis. Me and him had vehicle watch, and there was a big wall that we had knocked a chunk out of to get to the other side where they had all the vehicles staged. And we had gotten up, and I was fucking pissed because my fucking team leader had fucked with me that day, and I was all kinds of fucking butthurt about that. And I didn't get as much sleep as I wanted, you know, fucking, you know, you got fire watch, fucking deal with it. But, you know, I was a young butthurt Lance Corporal at the time, so I didn't really give a shit. Anyway, so I'm throwing my little tantrum. Joe's telling me to stop being a little bitch. And as soon as me and him break the plane of that wall, we go face first in the fucking dirt. Huge explosion. What had happened was fucking the Iraqis had fired like 5 or 6 rockets in our direction, and 3 of them had made impact inside the compound. One directly in the middle of the fucking soccer field. And so as soon as that happened, like 3 dudes from sniper platoon got hit. One of them was Sergeant Ung, well, Corporal Ung at the time, Sergeant Ung now. And interesting story, if you ever really want to look him up. He lost his right eye, relearned how to shoot with his left eye, and stayed in the Marine Corps.
Shit.
He's a bad motherfucker. Anyways, so Ung gets hit. A couple other guys get hit. They fucking medevac everybody else out. And we go to fucking, you know, all hands security. And that night we got fucking, I will never claim to be like, to have an equal experience to some guy that was like in Vietnam or World War II or Korea or any of those, God forbid that. But we got bombarded like what I imagine something like what they went through in some of the situations that they were in. Like, it was just fucking nonstop. Boom, boom, bang, boom, boom. We just got hit and hit and hit. I mean, they weren't all landing obviously on target, but you know, it was just fucking constant. I mean, it'll fuck with your head a little bit because like, when's the next one coming? It wasn't the usual mortars that we get hit with. The usual mortars we get hit with like 3, maybe 5. And then it would stop, and then, you know, you knew it was coming later, but this shit was fucking continuous for a while. I swear it had been a couple hours. It probably wasn't, but that's the way it seemed at the time. Well, right after that happened, I don't even think it was a full week before they told us, hey, we're going. And I didn't believe them because I was like, all right, great, another fucking fan. And they're like, no, go to that Connex box in the back of the fucking camp, open it up, start measuring time fuse and pulling out fucking demo. And I was like, oh shit, they're fucking serious. So what we did, we went out and we started fucking building fucking demo sets. And like with us, you got, you know, small pigtails that you use to just pop a lock. And then you got bigger things that you're going to use to bring down load bearing walls and all that other stuff. And I remember I was measuring time fuse, and my fucking team leader comes up to me, a guy named fucking Staff Sergeant Raphael. Top notch, dude. He's like, hey, I want these short. And I was like, what do you mean? Stuff less than a minute? He's like, way less than a minute. I was like, so like 30 seconds? And he's like, 5, 10, and 15 second time fuses. And I was like, are you fucking serious? He's like, oh no, I'm fucking serious. I was like, all right. So that's what I did. And then they gathered us all up. We got all our shit together. We made a bunch of fucking Bangalores. You prepared and got your fucking gear all packed up. And they're like, all right, you're going to the mech. They're going to give you a day or 2 days off. Get whatever shit you need to get and be ready to fucking go. And so we get to the fucking mech or Camp Fallujah, and everybody goes to the fucking first place. Everybody goes to the PX. And I swear to God, every pogue motherfucker on that base knew exactly what was about to happen because we got there and there wasn't anything but fucking Skoal Wintergreen and fucking Newports left. You couldn't get a decent fucking smoke or dip in the entire fucking base because somebody fucking clued these bastards into it and they cleaned the motherfucker out.
Or they wanted you to be pissed off so that you would go in.
Yeah, or they wanted us to be pissed off and just stopped shipping in fucking Marble Reds. Which is
if you think about it, though, you could have been like, well, I just got me a good old fucking nice Copenhagen, whatever the fuck you dip. I got me a nice dip in. I'm good. I'm good to die. But you're like, I'm not fucking dying with this skull wintergreen in my fucking mouth. Fuck that.
Yeah, I don't want my parents to fucking get my box of belongings with a pack of Newports in that shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm gonna.
Let's see.
I found a little map, and I want to see what you. Can you see that?
No, not yet.
I'm going to get me a drink. I'm going to have a beer with Mr. Bobby here. I don't know when the next time I see it.
3-1 and 3-5 are.
Yeah.
The map's wrong.
Okay, so it's
you got to flip flop those.
So
3-1 and 3-5. 3-1 is where 3-5 is, and 3-5 is where 3-1 is.
Okay. Well, thank you.
We went down through the center, all the way down through the Jolan district, and then stopped once we got right about. You see where the north-facing arrow is? Not on the island, actually, but it about level with that. If you went left or right across, we stopped somewhere down there.
Okay. Yeah.
And, before I get into this, you guys mind if I take a piss break real quick?
No, go for it.
Hey, I already pissed on camera. You just didn't see it.
Good job.
Every time I get with an old vehicle commander or something, it just reminds me of pissing in the Humvee rolling. So, you know.
So, Caldwell, did you hear what he said about this map?
Nope.
Can you see my mouse? Can you see my map?
I can, but it's probably changed. You know, have you ever tried to look up some of the? Remember the exhaust on where the tank? I remember where all the exhaust on the tanks were, like the Chiefs and all the shit we were taught. And then I tried to look it up on Google, and they changed where the exhaust is on some of those tanks, like the T-70. Look up a picture of a T-70 and try to find the exhaust, and it's different. They fucking photoshopped the exhaust up because that's top secret information we were given.
Okay, so but you see the map, right? Did you hear what he said about 3-1 and 3-5?
No.
So 3-1 is where the map says basically flip them.
Say top secret. Top secret.
No, because this shit happened fucking 15 years ago.
Well, yeah, but nobody's gonna go back and correct the map, you know, because it's 15 years ago.
So for the people watching, this is basically the map of the city proper, which means that it's, you know, it doesn't really take into account the outlying little villages and shit.
And Bob, I was just telling Andrew that I fucking remember where all the exhaust is because I have like a fucking freak memory, and I look up I try to show people, like, I'm like, look what I did. Look this is where you have to hit a tank on the exhaust. And I try to look up these pictures of these tanks, and they don't have the exhaust in the proper spot. So they change shit. If it's top secret information, they change the Google photo. I mean, it makes sense. But so for you people watching, trying to gather good information from fucking Google is not the best thing to do.
And you just got to check your sources for sure.
Well, I found another map too that shows it as the way that this had it.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, I actually this past year, Kilo Company had a big reunion in Richmond, and we all had a long talk about the map. Like, who posted this fucking map? Because it's not accurate. But it's the most popular map. It's the one they put on Wikipedia and everything else. Because like at first, I remember I posted it one day, and actually it was the lieutenant I was attached to that's like, hey, you realize that map's wrong? And I was like, yeah, you're right. We never saw the river till we got all the way south. And he's like, yeah, that's because we were smushed in between the two. I was like, no shit. He's like, yeah, you didn't know that? And I was like, well, I mean, I'm not a fucking cartographer. And to be honest with you, most of it was, hey, Bob, go blow that door up. Blow that up. Blow that up. It was not, I wasn't leading the patrol or anything at the time. So, I mean, I'm amazed I remember most of the shit that I remember. So,
were you involved with at the time First Sergeant Castle with his shit?
I was part of the group that went out and reacted to that. I wasn't I know the guys that were involved with that, and those are some bad motherfuckers. Actually, interesting anecdote. One of the guys that pulled him out, Marquez, he was actually with 1-1 when I showed up with you guys. Marquez is one of the dudes in the statue that's carrying him out.
Yeah.
You remember that Marine veteran that got fucking jumped in D.C. at that McDonald's by a bunch of hoodlums a couple years ago? Yeah, that was Marquez.
Oh,
yeah. No shit.
Oh, that makes me even madder.
Yeah.
I get so fucking, dude. Like, okay, man, you teach me about politics, and I literally was a fucking sheltered white boy, okay? I was an epiphany of a sheltered fucking white boy. And after you've taught me everything, I come back home, and I'm still trying to stick to what I knew. But then what you taught me just comes out. It sent me down a dark path. But, man, I get so fucking – but more to the story. I'm out of the dark path, whatever, but – every time I hear shit like that happen in the media, I do get a little more angry than I should. So I don't even watch the fucking news anymore. So you will have to forgive my ignorance on current events and shit. But yeah, that shit pisses me off so bad, so bad.
So back to we'll get into our train of thought. So you make your 5, 10, 15 second basically fuses.
Yeah.
When normally you would make, a minute, right? You would want to give yourself
5 minutes, give myself some, space.
And
I'll play fucking arm off.
So my Marine brain says so that you're not basically in the open for a minute, right? Is that?
A lot of it was that, and a lot of it was, once we got into it, they know you're there. And if they don't know you're there, they're about to know that you're there. And so, expose yourself the least amount of time as humanly possible. And I'll tell you right now, the 5 second stuff was for small, like Yuli knots and shit like that. That was just going to blow a door handle off. And most of it was 10 and 15 seconds to give myself enough sprint time to get on the other side of a wall or something. When I was blowing a house or blowing a big door or something like that.
Blowing a house with a 15-second fucking fuse? You're talking what?
Yeah, no bullshit. Honestly, I've never been a fast Marine. My best fucking 3 mile was 20 something minutes. I was never a fucking sprinter. You'd be surprised how fast you move when you think you're about to fucking die.
Makes you feel alive. Yeah.
That's for fucking sure.
Isn't that funny how afraid of death makes you feel alive, huh?
Yeah.
So
that's weird, and
it saps you. That's for you people that say, like my wife says, you don't have emotions. I'm like, it's these, once you're afraid to actually die or be faced with death on a daily basis or in a, it's just that you don't get that high ever again. You really don't. And that's why it's apps anyway.
Kind of turns the volume down on the rest of life.
It does. It does.
So what is it like? You guys were on foot, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what happened was we packed everything up. We got our little fucking small little libo period of time. Then they took us back to the little camp that I said that our battalion main was at, which was right outside Camp Fallujah. We went there. Packed up all our shit, and then General Mattis actually came out, gave us a big fucking libo brief. We had this big ceremony. We were all out there. Actually, it was actually in the news. The same couple days, we had I don't remember what it was called. It was in Maxim. We had a gladiatorial games. And a bunch of dudes, we had a chariot race with no shit fucking donkeys pulling fucking chariots. We had guys dressed up in fucking Spartan gear because, Kilo Company was the fucking Spartans. Well, my company, we were the Spartans. And we did a bunch of shit like that. It was just to fucking level us down for a second, I guess, and blow off some steam for a second. And then General Mattis came out and give us our fucking moto speech, the whole I fucking begged these bastards to, bring this out into the middle of the desert and we'll settle it like men. I pleaded with them with tears in my eyes, that whole speech that he gave us that. I don't know if it was the first time he'd ever given that speech, but that was the first time I ever fucking heard it was right then.
My middle child is named after Mattis.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
Okay.
he sent me a signed picture of him, so he personalized it to my son.
Yeah, I've always wanted to meet the man. I have yet to meet that guy. I met General Pace, but I've never met him. So
he wrote the article that shot my that really about Trump, the Trump article he wrote. He very, very educated man, very, very excellent speaker. I was very shocked for him to finally come out about Trump. Trump must have did something for him to come out and say something against his president. So
well, he did that against Obama too when he was in the military, and that's kind of what fucked him.
That's why he didn't go higher than the commander of CENTCOM. Yeah.
Obama was obvious. Okay, Obama was obvious. I'm not saying he was a bad president, but for the military, obviously he had that. Just throw a missile at him. It's cool.
He's a Marine. He's not a politician. He's a Marine.
Yeah, he's not afraid to say what he feels or describe what he observes as bad. The guy's never had a problem saying that, and it's hurt him. But that's also been his hallmark. He's not going to bullshit you.
That's why he's beloved, because he'll stick his neck out for the greater good of the
fucking. Why don't we have those Why can't he be why can't we have somebody like that as a president that considers everything, that literally takes
the world would be turned into glass. We would fucking nuke everybody.
Oh, come on.
Okay, so let's get back. So you do your pre-war festival.
Yes.
We're gonna. This is our brotherhood. We're gonna blow off some steam before we go blow off some heads. And what is it like when you realize all the fun and games and shit is over and we're going into basically what can be described as the hornet's nest? Is you are going to pick a fight in the hornet's nest?
Well, okay, so they loaded us all up in the back of fucking Amtrak's, right? And they drove us out, and we had to road forever, and it rained the night before. And as you all know, everything in the military fucking leaks. So you're in the back of Amtrak, stuck with fucking ammo and everything. So it's like being in that 7-ton again with all the fucking sandbags, except now it's human beings and ammunition. And we're rolling around. Finally, we fucking stopped. We got a couple vehicles up in front of us got stuck a couple times. We finally stopped, and we stopped north of the city the night before.
So you guys basically did you went up and to the that, right? So you went.
Yeah, if you look at that map, that what looks like a road going across the top, that's actually train tracks. There's a huge train station on the north side of Fallujah. We ended up stopping just short of that and stayed for a couple hours because I remember they had us all dig cat holes and told us to get some sleep. And, even then I don't think it had hit me yet, but in the middle of the night, that's when they started bombarding the fucking city.
So you
Arty, fucking C-130s, fucking CAS strafes, fixed wing, and fucking once the fixed wing had run out, rotor wing strode up. They bombarded they blew that. It was a fucking fireworks display.
This is the moment that kind of differentiated from your feints previously to this is all stop. We're all fucking.
These motherfuckers are serious now. They're for real.
So you guys are dick in hand, maybe a firefight, a little taxi firefight. It was pretty fucking crazy, but this is your dick's not in your hand anymore.
It was the lack of, I guess, interaction that made me not maybe take it. I knew what it was, but I didn't take it as seriously as maybe I necessarily should have. Because I'm sitting here watching this, and this is just an amazing display of just fucking power.
Yeah. You can.
Oh, fuck with me? Cool.
You can feel the shock waves and shit.
Yeah, you could the whole fucking ground shook. They were dropping fucking big fucking bombs on this place.
So you were probably excited then, like, because you'd already gotten to a firefight at this point. The fear of death is probably in the back. You don't even have that anymore at this point.
Honestly, I was still pretty naive. As I've come to understand fucking human psychology a little bit better, and the way stress works on your body, like, you're a little more fucked up the less you know. And like, because of that buildup of and what your mind's doing with like what could possibly happen, but it's still not completely registering yet, right? Mm-hmm. And so we were supposed to go in 2 lines into the city, and there was supposed to be 2 Mikliks that were going to go off simultaneously. And you guys both know what Mikliks are, right? That were going to blow these huge holes in the train tracks and let everybody rush through. Well, only one went off. And so we held there for a minute.
Naturally.
Until I'm pretty sure we started getting mortared again.
Sorry, it's not funny, but damn it.
I mean, it's funny now because you lived through it. But
well, because realistically, you know, the outskirts of the city, they're watching you, right? You are.
Yeah.
You're.
Yeah.
It's too.
We're being observed.
Without, you know, kind of, you know, think of how they fought in the Revolution. You know, lines, the battle lines.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It is basically that they're looking at you and you're looking at them, and it's just you're waiting for somebody with scars on his shit to be like, go.
Yeah. So that Miklik not going off bogged us down for a little bit. It wasn't that long, but it was long enough to be noticeable. Like, we should be moving right now. And finally, somebody made the fucking command decision, fucking move, go. Everybody's going to go through this one fucking hole, and that's how it's going to be. And so we got back to the back of the track, and we started moving, and then all of a sudden, I'd say 15, 20, no, it wasn't even 15. It seemed like that. It wasn't long before whoever the fucking gunner was in the turret on the fucking Amtrak started fucking letting loose. And that was the point where I'm like, okay, this is a thing.
With a 50?
So it's that coax gun they have on the fucking turret. You started letting loose on that thing, and then all of a sudden they're like, fucking stop. And the back drops, and they're like, everybody out. That was the moment I was like, oh, fuck. This is for real.
Oh, shit, dude. I got that. My adrenaline's pumping right now. Just fucking.
Yeah, so because now you are. This is the closest to the city that you've been. Like, you are now basically.
Yeah. Well, like, up until that point, I'd seen it, and I'd just heard all the fucking things about it. Like, this is gonna be the worst thing. They're like, oh, dude, you're gonna have fucking Iraqis. You're going to have fucking Chechen snipers. You're going to have fucking North Africans, fucking East Africans. They're all here to fucking kill you. And it turns out, yeah, they weren't fucking with us. That, like, all of them were there to kill us.
Well, I mean, you got to think of it from their point of view. You know, you're fighting the biggest country in the world. You can't. Those people that you guys were fighting probably weren't even from that city. They were probably coming to fuck up another city that wasn't their home ground, and they could.
I would say it's probably about half and half, but yeah, no, it was definitely a large group of people that were not even from there. Because I mean, we found a bunch of identification on these guys. I mean, some of it was good, some of it was fraudulent. But as we made our way through, but yeah, as soon as we got out of that track, it was fucking go time. Like, we went house to 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 house.
So do you remember, was there a brief on like ROEs, or were you like,
they told us from the get-go, if it's in the city, they've been warned to get out. If they're not out, they're a combatant.
So for people listening, there was, in the, you know, leading up to this, there was a period where the people of Fallujah were warned to, you know, leave.
Yeah, they dropped pamphlets.
And they, you know, there were ECPs and shit, and they, you know, it was recorded who was, you know, leaving and shit like that. And then, and basically it was, as, you know, when the bombs start falling, you're all hostile.
Yeah. Oh, shit, a lot of people fled that city before we actually went in. But yeah, and I mean, anybody that was in that city would have had to been fucking plumb dumb not to know what was up. Yeah. And I mean, our ROEs were accordingly. The entire
shit. If I was on the other side of things too, and there was some superpower country, and I was some young buck sniper military person, I'd have tried out and flew. You know, Fallujah would, you know. So that's kind of crazy that how that people don't think about that. They think, hey, maybe you're fighting the locals of the city. You're really not. You're fighting an organization that doesn't want to bring the war back to where they're actually from. Is what you and Iraqi is just the playing ground. Is what I always take it as.
I mean, there were plenty of Iraqis that were fighting us, but
Of course.
by and large, the larger group of these people were a multinational group, maybe like loosely affiliated, that were there just to fight us.
Well, yeah, because, you know, never are you going to be able to amass even a comparable army or force to go against, you know, what was it, 7 or 8 battalions coming through?
Yeah.
Like, that shit hasn't happened since, you know, fucking World War II, probably, having 8 battalions going into the same location. So, like you were saying, you would have had to been stupid to not know. You know, you're looking at 8,000, 10,000 guys coming in to, you know, like,
And we're not sneaky, by the way.
yeah, it's
Not stealth.
track.
Oh no, we didn't make it. There was no secret about what was going on. Well, like once it started moving, everybody knew it was coming. They knew it was coming. We knew it was coming. They just didn't necessarily know what direction it was coming from. And we realized that as we were moving through the city. They had set up gun emplacements and fucking marked fucking firing positions and all that other shit. It was just pointed south. They always thought we were going to come from the south to the north. Because I think they thought that train station and the tracks were too big of a barrier, I guess. But once we did, all the chatter on the radios is, I mean, maybe they were bullshitting us, but what we were being told at the time is, hey, they don't know how to handle you. You're moving too fast for them. You're fucking rolling through, you're pushing. Because we pushed all the way into the next night, well, to that night, and everything stopped for a little bit.
Semper Fi. That's what Marines are known for.
And you said you were in the Jolan district, right? Which is kind of the wealthier area.
The Jolan district was a nicer, kind of like almost like a market district. The political complex was actually farther to our east. 1-8 ended up taking the political complex. We rolled through the Jolan, and it was, as I'm told, I mean, you know, you hear about this after the fact. They told us that it was the heaviest fighting. It was the anticipated worst of the worst. And it was also where a lot of the bigger mosques were consolidated. Our main battalion objective was the Grand Mosque, which is not too far from the river, out just south of the Jolan district. We ended up taking it. But as we were pushing through, I mean, it was a fucking shit show. Like, I took a knee in a human being and didn't even realize it. It was like a dead body that had been rolled over by a track. I take a knee and I'm like, I finally looked down and I was like, well, I guess I can't use that knee pad anymore. Done.
Oh, yes.
And you have your M16?
I had my M16, my small, 2 satchels of C4 and 2 rockets.
Fun.
And, you know, your combat.
So Battlefield doesn't lie when they give you like 2 or 3 rockets, people. If you bitch about that.
Yeah, you just don't move as fast as those fuckers do.
You really can't carry. It's heavy shit.
It's heavy.
It's some fucking heavy shit.
So
I did a little small work. It's way heavier than it looks.
So you guys hit every building, right? Everyone
that I could see.
just to make sure that you guys weren't advancing past, you know, basically setting yourself up to be ambushed.
Yeah.
So how was tell your son the story? How was the resistance? I mean, was it
initially it was heavy and then it died down. Actually a guy named Segura was killed crossing a street like the first couple of hours, like right after we got out of the tracks. He got like fucking shot, and then fucking somebody ran out to get him. He got shot. And finally, one of our snipers got that guy, and then we were able to get him out. But fucking Segura had bled out by that time.
Is that the video that they show where he's like in the middle of the street and the guy runs out to get him? Have you seen that?
I don't know for sure. I don't think I've actually seen that video, but I mean, it very well could be.
Is Segura our teammate, or is he?
He was in my company. Segura was a good dude.
Yeah.
He was the funniest part is, like, Segura was like at one point in time was like a Golden Gloves boxing champion.
Yeah.
And then joined the Marine Corps later on, you know, with the whole, you know, fucking patriotism thing. You know, I want to join, I want to do my part. He was an older guy, so he was a little bit overweight and could never got promoted to corporal because of it. But like, I mean, not all leaders have rank. You know what I mean?
That's
like when I got there and I was getting fucked with and I was fucking losing my shit. Like Segura was the dude that would come to me and talk to me. He's like, "Hey man, this is what's supposed to happen. Like you can't be right. Just get used to being wrong for a little while. Eventually, somebody else is going to come around and they're going to stop fucking with you." And
that was what you told me, bro. That's what you told me. I drank to that.
So he had been,
like, you know,
he had been on 3-1 in the invasion.
Yeah. So Segura had been around had been around a while, and Segura extended to go on this deployment with us. Segura didn't have to. And the funniest part is, and it's not funny, but of the, I believe, 33 guys that got killed on my first deployment, the vast majority of those guys were guys that extended.
I think
to come on this deployment with us.
I think it testifies to the brotherhood and camaraderie that Marine Corps infantry units have. Is, you know, we know what these guys are going to be walking into, and we want to be next to them when they walk into it. Like,
no, you know, I absolutely think that's correct.
The guilt that, you know, these men would have had they gotten out and pursued their life, and then, you know, watching you guys take the city on TV wouldn't have been. That's not what they were meant to do. So, I mean, I don't know these Marines, but I know Marines.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, no, I got you. No, I mean, I'd say that hits at the heart of it, to be sure. I mean, the guys, we had a bunch of senior NCOs, and what I mean senior by that is corporals and sergeants from other units, like guys from 3rd Marines, a couple of the dudes that came from 1-4. These guys all extended just to go with a deploying victory unit and got attached to us. So, I mean, I think there's that strain in us that refuses to fucking let ourselves fail if at all possible. And couldn't live with themselves if they sent guys that they knew into a fucked up situation. And I mean, there's definitely the contingent of dudes that were fucking thrill seekers, like guys that wanted to like go out and get it.
Yeah, but so, that's what
that's a small,
we disguise.
Small
that's what we disguise it with, I think.
Yeah.
Like even me talking about good kill, I get my adrenaline pumped. You're telling me the story, my adrenaline's getting pumped, and I'm talking to you like a Marine. But realistically, it's like there is a part of me that knows better than like, you know, this whatever. But it does revolve around the country's defense, and I tell everybody that, dude, I don't get people because I don't think any of us actually wanted to be there when you're there. That's why they do contracts. It's you just don't want to fucking leave your homies. You have a rivalry, like rankle. You know, we were at CAX. I wasn't wearing a belt. I was being a shitbag, like you said. I was immature, and I was being an immature person that probably could have done better. But instead, I was being an immature, and then Rankle calls me out. And it's the last conversation I had with him was he was like, "You're a piece of shit, Caldwell," and I was like, "Do you don't even know? Wait till we get to combat, dog. You'll see. You're probably gonna be crying. I'll show you, motherfucker. It's just because I'm not wearing a belt, like just because I'm not putting on my clothes like the Marine Corps says. I was being an immature little bitch, and the whole thing was wanting to prove to Rankle, even though we didn't like each other, that I will do good in combat, you know. And it sucks that he died, and we didn't get to go avenge his death, and so those guys probably felt the same fucking way. You know, that they didn't want to leave their brothers behind. They had a chance to stay with them.
So you said that, you know, the first day was real heavy. You guys, you know, so what time did you guys enter the city? Was it morning, like early morning?
Oh, it was really early in the morning.
So you're basically fighting, we'll say, like 18 hours, you know, 16 hours, 12, you know.
I'd say that's fair. Like there was an operational pause, and I think it was because different units had pushed faster than other units. And to get everybody back online and let people catch up, everybody paused for the evening. Well, during the time of darkness, at least, because I remember getting a chance to sleep, and I could barely sleep, and then all of a sudden I was fucking dead to the world, and then next thing I know I was being told to get up to go do post, and I had to get in the back of a fucking Humvee that at the time did you guys ever have the steel plate armor?
Yes.
This made
On
maybe
a
quarter of
Humvees.
an. This is all
Yeah.
before up armor. It was like quarter-inch steel in a box
And
with
rickety.
barn doors.
It's
That
rickety
you
as
had
fuck.
to fucking tie together with fucking 550 cord.
Yeah.
Because they put
It was part of
plastic
our training
toggles
gear.
on it. Like that's gonna fucking keep this fucking steel door. Sorry. Anyways.
No, we used it in training. They
Yeah.
gave us a sample in training.
But
in
yeah,
SOI.
no, that's what they gave us to protect ourselves. My very first deployment. So.
Fucking hoorah, Simplified Marine Corps.
What is it like that, when you finally get to sit down and just be like, did you process it all, or did you you stay in the moment?
Honestly, I would say at the time, you just do. It's just like taking your next step. Like, I don't even think you have time to think about it. Like at the time, like it wasn't like I was sitting there just thinking about what was going on. Like I was too fucking tired when I finally got the chance to sleep to even think about anything other than fucking go to bed. And then when I was on post, I'm so freaked out. It's I've been shot at before, but this is the first time I've been in fucking combat. And it's the middle of the night. I got somebody's borrowed MVGs and I'm looking around just knowing that like I'm the guy standing in the back of a turret. I'm getting shot in the face. Like I'm going to get shot in the face. And that's what I'm thinking about the whole time.
And thinking tactically, nighttime would probably be the most advantageous for them to assault back. Would be, because of the gaps in technology between the forces. They know that they can take us in the daytime, but at night it's more of an even, I guess, it's more evened out. So, dude, I know my first night in country or in, that area, but I couldn't imagine, being in the city, how far in were you guys?
To be honest with you, I don't think we had made it to the Jolan district that very first night. Actually, no, we did. We made it in and we made it past, and then we stopped. Because the next day, we got ambushed.
Shit, man. We didn't know dude, you didn't tell me any stories about this, man. What the hell?
Yeah, the next day, we pushed through. I want to say it's the next day. Some of this shit runs together, so if I'm getting my days mixed up, I do apologize. It's either the next day or the day after that, because one day I remember clearing stuff and I ran up too close to the side of an A1 and it fired its main fucking gun and the whole world went fucking like wavy.
The Abrams.
I don't know if you've ever been standing next to a fucking Abrams when it fires the fucking main gun.
No, but
it will fuck your day up.
I've been firing up away and it's fucked my day up. I couldn't imagine.
Yeah. That was in cash, yeah.
It had been the first. It was first three. It had to be the first 3 days. So we cross Route Henry, which is this big main road that goes left to right, east to west throughout the city. And we're pushing. We're still pushing. We're still clearing buildings, and we move over and we get to Route Henry, which is a long strip. And we're taking pucks. And I remember because they were laying the pucks out. Prisoners. They're laying the prisoners out in the middle of this like median in the middle of the road, and they got a bunch of we're in one big ass fucking line, and all of a sudden, fucking all hell breaks loose, and the first thing they did was kill every one of those fucking pucks. Like they immediately fucking shot at these guys. Everybody that was on the left side started could see fire coming from fucking building tops and everything else like that. So we start clearing fucking buildings and we get into a building and I'm in there. A couple of guys are clearing downstairs and I'm like, I can hear something upstairs. And then I look to my left and there's a fucking room with RPG fucking warheads stacked from fucking floor to about shoulder height on both sides of the walls. And so I go to my fucking team leader and I was like, these motherfuckers are up there. And so in the midst of this fucking ambush that we're stuck in, we're in a house where the bad guy's on the roof. And I was like, well, you know, my first thought is I'll grab 2 of these RPGs. I'll tape them together. I'll put fucking quarter stick C4, put a 5-second time fuse on it, and toss that bitch on the fucking roof and see how they like that shit. And my team leader's like, no, let's just blow this fucking house up. And I was like, better idea. So we get everybody fucking set up outside.
Like Gravity deal with them.
Good old Gravity.
Have them run up the edge, and so it's just me and my fucking team leader. And I was like, go. Just fucking go now. So I get a 10-second time fuse. I fucking throw half a satchel right next to the fucking load-bearing wall, which happens to be the wall that's right next to these fucking the stairs that are going up to the top. And as I'm running away, I start yelling at my buddy Voss, who's in the gun truck. He's a fucking 31, and I'm just pointing and screaming, Voss, shoot, Voss, shoot. So he fucking lights that thing up, and then boom, the building goes away. Well, or the building crumbles.
Yeah. We saw what you bastards did to Fallujah. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
We saw what you bastards did to Fallujah. That shit was like, we were there and like, do people still live here? This is literally all rubble. It was all rubble.
It was kind of hard to believe that they came back, to be honest with you, because later on they extended us for the elections, but it's neither here nor there. Well, so we pushed a little bit farther. We fought our way out of the fucking ambush, or blew our way up out of the ambush, basically. And
I love the sound of that.
Like a couple days later, we're fucking clearing some houses again, and Bob Stafford gets fucking lucky again, because I'm standing there along a fucking row where we're in a firefight again, and a fucking frag couldn't have landed like fucking 5 feet in front of me, and it explodes. And all I do is
field radius, 5 meters.
Oh god, yeah,
Oh,
I do want to like fuck, I'm done. It hit everybody but me. Like 3 guys in front of me, 4 guys behind me. I turn around and I look at the sergeant that's behind me, and I was like, "Hey, Sergeant Barbosa, you realize?" Like I look down, and it was like a fountain running down his wrist, over his thumb knuckle, and off the tip of his thumb, like a little fountain of just red blood, and like arterial red blood. I was like, Sergeant Barbosa, you're bleeding. And he's like, what? Oh, fuck. And that's all he said. And then screamed for Doc. Doc came over, patched him up. The guy stranged 3 other dudes up in front of us, just got peppered with stuff. Nobody got seriously hurt. It just happened to nick Barbosa in the right place.
And artillery. Like, so what artery?
Huh?
We talking like the brachial artery on the arm is where you got
somewhere like right up in your armpit.
Yeah, the brachial artery. Oh, that's not a joke.
I got hit later on right here, and it bled like a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways,
Man.
So we continued doing that. We took the main mosque, got a whole bunch of pucks from that. I got to blow up my first minaret.
Oh, how sweet! Was there any hazing rituals involved in that one? The first
no, they were just like, we keep getting shot at from here. Make it go away. And I said, yes, sir.
Damn.
I took my first rocket shot in combat, which I missed, by the way. When you're fun fact, when you're switching from thermal barrack to HE rounds, you need to twist the drum to compensate for the fucking drop, because the thermal barrack round drops more than the fucking HE round, and I didn't pay attention to that, and my fucking HE round went right over the top. So we got about a little more than halfway through the city, and then we got to another fucking stumbling block, and it was a large fucking 3-story building with this huge bay window, and in this bay window was a fucking very determined fucking Haji bastard. I'm sorry, you probably can't say Haji.
Haji bastard. Haji,
anyway.
it's fine.
Fuck him, he's a terrorist.
Haji bastard on a machine. Huh?
Fuck him, he's a terrorist.
Yeah, and it's not. It looks bad with 3 white people saying Haji. It does, but fuck you.
Yeah. But anyways, he's fucking shooting at everybody. It held up our company and both the companies that were online to my left and my right, which is important to this story. So the fucking platoon commander, Lieutenant Jacobs, comes back, and so he's giving me my chance for redemption. He's like, "Can you hit this?" And I was like, "Look, sir, I know what I did. but I can do whatever you want. I got a great idea. I'll set up over here and I'll get him from that side. And he's like, no, you don't understand. We got a company over here. We got a company over there. And we got a battalion over there that's pushed past us. This has got to be direct shot. To this day, I cannot tell you what happened during the time between. What we had to do was me, a saw gunner, and my A gunner had to knock the corrugated roof off this building, climb up, run across, jump to another building, and I had to take a direct shot at this fucking through this bay window. I don't remember doing it.
While he's watching you do all this?
Yes. Like, we had the saw gunner there to get up and start laying down a base of fire to maybe distract him from my movement across. Probably the only reason I'm here to talk to you about this right now. I took the shot, I leveled the building, and I ran back in there. And what I remember is the top of that roof peeling off and me back down there like, did I hit him? Did I hit him? Did I hit him? And they're like, oh, yeah, you fucking hit that guy. Yeah. Like, you could miss a direct shot like that. But so that happened. And then a couple days later, I was putting the toe in my boot and I guess you guys want to hear about the Hell House.
Of course we want to hear about the Hell House.
Like I said, I wasn't a direct I wasn't like in the Hell House. What happened was 3rd Platoon had been clearing around. We had just taken, there's these 2 mansions there, or one left, right, and another, which we ended up turning into a company CP later on. But it was the first time we had taken these 2 buildings, and there's this firefight that starts. And what happened, to the best of my knowledge, is they went to clear this building and they kicked the door open. The first guy through the door takes one right through the fucking running lights. The guy behind him is actually a sniper. He has his fucking sidearm and he's fucking putting rounds in this dude's chest, but he's got fucking body armor. Him and every other motherfucker in that building. And they walked into a building that had been pre-selected and pre-staged because it had one of the big oval cutouts in the foyer. You know how most of the fucking houses in Iraq, like, you would go into them and they'd have these big open spaces? That's what they had. And they had guys like fucking interlocking fields of fire as soon as guys were coming through that door getting hit. One guy, Lance Corporal Nickel, who ended up losing his leg, that's what First Sergeant Castle got his fucking Navy Cross for, got hit. He goes down and manages to start crawling into a bathroom. First Sergeant Castle is one of the 3rd or 4th guys in there, sees a frag come down, grabs fucking Nickel and drags him the rest of the way in the bathroom and lays on top of him. When the frag goes off, it fucked up both of the back of his legs. Finally, they get a couple of guys more to show up. A dude named fucking Sergeant Mitchell, who was a bad motherfucker to begin with. This dude was running around Fallujah with what looked like bicycle shorts on because he had been hit so many times with frag. I think he got shot. And Doc had just been had cut the legs off of his fucking camis and bandaged his legs wherever he had gotten hit. He too has a Navy Cross off of this.
So he's like the cartoons where you get your clothes blown off, but he's still just wearing the same shorts and pants.
I'm serious. Yeah, no, it was fucking something to see.
But hey, at least you didn't have a first sergeant saying, "Where's your shave? Where's your shave,
yeah,
motherfucker?"
Exactly. But
that mustache.
They put Mitchell. They finally. Well, Mitchell gets everybody pulled out of the fucking building, and one of the guys, part of my team, Gonzo, I was doing Overwatch by this point, just returning fire to some of the guys who were on the 2nd floor of this building. And Gonzo throws fucking 2 satchels through the window of this bitch, him and another buddy of mine, Vetter, and they blew that fucking building to Kingdom Come. And so that was the Hell House.
Yeah, I remember. I think it was before our first deployment. I read Sergeant Major Castle's book. I think it's called "For the Love of My Men" or something like that.
I think so. Yeah, something like that.
And it's from his point of view. And they were rolling grenades down the stairs. They were basically, his thing was, you know, he knew that they weren't going to be able to get up to the second floor to clear it. They just needed to be able to get out of the house.
Yeah, get all the guys that had gotten in out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And then I remember the picture, you know, because I during our deployment, I never really got to spend a lot of time in the city because weapons was out in the desert. We were out. We had the smaller villages. We had a greater reach. And, you know, the picture is, you know, a decent house before, and then afterwards it looks like a vacant fucking lot. Like, it's fucking, they're, you know, if it wasn't for the tons and tons of rubble, you wouldn't have known that there was anything there. You would think that they stored concrete fucking rubble in this lot.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So,
man, so like, I mean, how long did this whole operation last?
I'd say all in all, like real, like continuous combat maybe lasted 2 weeks, and then a week of follow-on stuff to calm it down. And
So,
like I said, we made it all the way to the bottom of the city. That was when I finally got to see the Euphrates River, which was one of my life goals. I always want to see the Tigris and the Euphrates River. I don't remember if you guys remember, but I was a big history buff.
Oh yeah. I was going to ask you about that.
Once we secured the city, we stayed there. And we lived in this mansion complex and did patrols every day, security patrols. You'd have intermittent things, but nothing lively happened again until school bus came in, which was a unit of combat camera, supply, and a bunch of other volunteer people from Camp Fallujah that came in to clean up the bodies, and we had to do security for them. And I've never seen so many fucking pogues puke all over themselves.
So the 6 days of Fallujah that you hear about, is that like the push? Was it like a 6 day?
That's the worst. Yeah, that was the worst of it.
And then
that was the fucking balls to the wall. Every day was a fight.
So and then after that, it was more containment and, you know, kind of smaller.
And then take everything from that point on, especially the last 2 weeks that really were about pushing out what other little remnants were there, destroying anything that they had that could help them. And then part of the reason we did aerial denial stuff, which is part of the reason that more of the reason the city got destroyed as bad as it was. Like part of my job toward the last couple of weeks of the real fighting was we went out on patrols and they're like, Stafford, we need that building gone, 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 so on and so forth. And I made them go away.
My God, man. This is awesome. Like, so I knew we were good. Whenever, like, our truck, I knew our truck was good, but I didn't realize we were gonna be that well off. Like, as in far as experience-wise. Because I know those other guys, they kept talking about that one thing that happened, that their one time they got experience. That took complete, like, there was Joel who was in Phantom Fury. He didn't say much. I don't know why. We'll let him explain that. He never tried to jump in and take a role in leadership like you did. But you were fighting a losing battle, you know, with our unit. So you get done with all this cool shit, which you're gone.
Good job, Caldwell. You pissed them off.
Yeah, I do that. I was trying to give him a compliment. I don't know what to say. I always say the exact wrong thing.
Joel was in 1-8, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was on the
other side.
Crunchy. He was a crunchy with the saw. He was the motherfucker probably laying the saw fire for Bobby down.
No, because 1-8 was on the other side of the city.
Yeah.
I talked to him.
It'd have been cool though. It'd have been cool.
I talked to Joel, you know, and he didn't get into it, but like I asked him kind of logistics questions.
Yeah.
Because the story that, for the listeners, the story that you just heard, and the men that fought in that city are the reason I joined the Marine Corps.
Mm-hmm.
I remember we're sitting. So I remember walking into my English class. I was a sophomore in high school, and my teacher, who had like a free period the period before, had her TV on, and it was on the news because the fucking Marines have entered Fallujah, like, and they're gonna take it. And I remember like asking her, like, can we just watch this? Like this is something that we will tell our kids about, is watching this happen on TV. Mm-hmm. And luckily she said yes. And like I remember just sitting there and watching fucking, like, he's talking about the guy in the middle of the street and the guy runs out to get him. I remember watching shit like that and just being like, oh my God, how do I do that? How do I get to be that guy and have that level of loyalty and pride that I can't sit back and watch, this guy die in the middle of the road. I know that I will most likely, because in the video, and I believe it's the video
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
You can see the rounds impacting around the injured Marine.
Yep.
You can see the rounds, and the guy still runs in there and he gets hit. And then you see, I think my seniors use that as the lesson for the dead man's, the hook on the back of your flat, so that they could toss the rope out to you and drag you in.
And the also lesson that you're no good to your homeboy's dead. That's like, see this is, and they say this is what the Marines did wrong. They should not have ran up to try to get this Marine because he was clearly under fire, and then the other Marine goes down. That's the video where then you see the Haji go out and take the bullet straight through the head, like whack.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like my favorite video.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys.
Oh, no problem. Yeah. So I was just telling Caldwell, and I don't really want to repeat it for sake of repetitiveness, but you guys, I remember watching you guys on the news. I was a sophomore in high school, and watching, and that was the reason that I joined, and that's why I'm so fascinated with this battle, and then also just the I don't know what happened, but then being deployed there and being able to see the city and smell the city. And for people that don't know, the city is a living creature. Like, this thing, what happens in the city basically dictates what happens in the area around the city. And you guys pushed a lot of guys out into, and I remember hearing, talking to some of the locals from the little villages where we were about, hey, what do you guys remember of 2004? And they go, oh, when the Marines came. And it was like, yes, when the Marines came. And they said there was a lot of basically all the insurgents hit the Euphrates, and then like some of them would try to swim across, like, just to get away. And they remember like basically the cleanup crews coming to clean up the guys that got away. And that's one of some of the reasons, like, where our cop had been a little village, and for like the retaliation or retribution, the insurgency came and killed all of the fighting age males because they refused to like help them in Phantom Fury. And so that's why, and it's weird, when you drive around, you don't see a lot of, there's age ranges where you don't see males, because the insurgents would just go into these villages and kill everybody that didn't help them.
Yeah.
And it's crazy.
Yep. And fighting out of fear is not better than fighting for love. And history has proven that about a jillion times. The problem that, well, that's a political thing. I guess I don't have to get into that. It's like our government might we'll try to bring that out to recruit people, like try to bring that love factor. You're fighting, but anyway, some of the things that you've taught me, Bob, about life. And so we're not, we're talking strictly from a soldier's point of view. It's not saying we agree with the war, don't agree with the war, but we do like comments if you want to, talk about that too, about what happened. Anybody want to comment, throw their 2 cents, call us monsters, baby killers, we're down. We don't care. Let's go. So comment, tell us what you think.
I've been called worse.
Yeah, I've been called worse. And then, yeah. So
I don't. Oh, good.
No, go for it.
I mean, I guess if that's the question you're asking, is the question I think you're asking it. I do not regret joining the Marine Corps. I don't regret going to Iraq. I don't regret having been in Fallujah. And I don't regret having defended myself or defended any of the other Marines that I was with, or aggressively attacking a city full of shitheads that were doing nothing more than fucking killing innocent people that were inside of that city and using them as human shields. All that being said, knowing what I know now, would I have made the same decisions? Yeah, probably. I was young. I had a lot of ideas about what like courage and valor, being a man was all about. And the Marine Corps taught me all those things. And I'm not taking anything away from that. But I mean, on the same note, I guess the best example I can say is the first thing you do as an infantry Marine when you're wearing a fucking set of alphas or a set of fucking dress bravos and you're in a group of other Marines whom you don't know is you find all the guys with a car, right? Guy with a combat action record. That guy you can relate with. That guy you can find something, something in, some common ground. Well, I realized a long time ago that I would give that dumb shit little piece of ribbon back in a fucking heartbeat if it meant getting a lot of my buddies back. But that's not life, and that's not the reality of the situation, and it doesn't matter what your fucking politics are. Shit happened. Yeah. It's done, and you're never getting it back.
Yeah. Wish there was a better way, it sounds like. Wish that didn't have to come to the actual war.
I wish that even now that we as a nation would realize that certain parts of the world are not ready for democracy. No matter how much we think that's a great system of government, because it is a great system of government, or our representative democracy is what we have. But certain parts of the world are used to doing and operating under certain mores and social structures that we as Americans find completely unacceptable. However, that's the way they're used to living. And it's a mistake to think that you can change that shit overnight. And when you make that mistake and then you go into their country and you cause havoc and you break things, now you're expected to fix those things or at least pay for them. And if you're going to fix it, it's a long haul approach. And we don't have a whole lot of follow through as a nation. Everybody gets fucking bored. I know all of you guys probably saw the fucking comments, or at least the fucking taglines, fucking America's not at war, the Marine Corps is at war, America's at the fucking mall. And it's absolutely true. 90% of this country could give two fucks what you or I or fucking any one of our brothers experienced. There's a bunch of people that will pay lip service to it. And yeah, they love you and they appreciate your service, but they don't understand the things that you had to live through, the things that you had, that you continue to deal with every day.
They expect you to come back and go back to fucking normal after.
I don't even necessarily think they think that, but they think like it's everybody's problem but theirs. I mean, it's the same kind of social phenomenon I personally see with the whole.
You knew the risk. You knew the risk when you signed up. It wasn't my problem. It wasn't my fault. You knew the risk.
It's kind of like the refusal, the demand for accountability, but the refusal to take accountability. I think a lot of people, like the Antifas and the BLMs and everybody else, like they want to point fucking fingers, but they do not want any type of deep introspection on their own part. Like, you're fucked up. You might be just as fucked up as the people that you're accusing of being fucked up. So, I mean, I try not to cast aspersions against a president and an administration that may or may not have acted in the best interest of this country, or at least with the best intelligence that they had. But then again, the president right after that made the same mistake, just in different ways. And then we got a president that we got now that's making the fucking same mistakes the same ways. And all that tells me is that politicians will be fucking politicians.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, a little off topic, but it's like not even about the war. It's like, look at why the fuck haven't we set a base up on the moon? That is because every time NASA is heavily involved with the government, every time a new president comes in, they scrap what the old president was doing to do what they think's better. So Bush says we need to go back to the moon and establish a base. Obama says, fuck the moon, let's go mine some shit off asteroids. So they spent for however many years, 8 years Bush was in, on a spaceship to do what Bush wanted to do. Obama comes in and says, this spaceship ain't going to do what I want it to do, so fuck this project, scrapped. All this shit, $9 billion you just spent, which is what NASA's released as the budget. Boom, gone. $9 fucking billion gone, and now we're going to learn how to mine shit off an asteroid, which they're actually both fucking great ideas, because asteroids, God knows what's on an asteroid. You'll get all sorts of minerals and whatever. But also the moon, setting a base up on the moon will give us better, better telescopes. There's even talks of, hey, we could even put heavy industry on the moon, which would help with global warming, because the moon's 3 trips away if we could figure out blah, blah, blah. So that's something that we need to look at. A president, should you be allowed to come in to office and shit all over the other guy's work?
It's all a dick measuring contest. It's like when a new battalion commander comes in, or a new first sergeant, or a new platoon sergeant. They want to put it their way so that they can say that it was theirs.
Yeah.
When, I've said it many, many times, if we had the same chain of command as we did in Iraq, our second deployment would have been so much better.
Yeah.
Because they allowed leadership to grow. And I'm talking probably at least in our company. Like our battalion commander was not very present, unless there was a camera there to be pointed at him.
Our first battalion commander, correct?
Yes. So
yeah, our second battalion commander was badass.
Yeah. So our, there's like one picture of our battalion commander from Iraq, and it's when they handed over Al Anbar back to the Iraqis. And other than that, he was basically, I think I saw him one time. Like he came out to like our COP once, and other than that, yeah, he would send out the XO or even just the sergeant major alone.
Yeah.
Like
telling me I needed a haircut after 4 months with no running water.
My second battalion commander was like that. My first battalion commander I'm still friends with him. He's a fucking one, he's a badass, and 2, he's a fucking stellar human being.
That's Colonel Buell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Willard Buell.
So I follow on like Instagram and Facebook the 3-1 Balls of the Corps account and stuff.
Yeah.
They're always doing, they like praise Colonel Buell and stuff like that.
Sons of Willie?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a thing.
But the battalion commander that we all shared on our Caldwell.
Clearfield?
Yeah, Clearfield. He was in Fallujah not with 3-1, but he's mentioned in a book that I read about Phantom Fury. I believe he was a major, like a new major.
Yeah. Yep.
That sounds about right.
And he was with I think a RCT or something like that. And we talked. He got some chest decorations from that as well. He saved some lance corporals and shit like that.
The one lance corporal that kept getting shot in the head, he's like, just stay the fuck down. Just stay the fuck down. No.
Yeah.
He's like, we all need to have his attitude. Maybe not he gave us that brief. We all need to have his attitude, but maybe not his intelligence. Speaking, you remember the Shaka Zulu fucking? So I was in a bar here down south in Sykeston and further south than Cape Girardeau, Bob. So it's you could, I don't know if you got the idea of St. Louis, but you come about 2 hours south, you're in 1930s at least. So and black people are sitting with me. So I'm at a bar with some black people, and they're like something about how Africa wasn't violent before that, and then people are like, yeah, Africa was violent. I was like, actually no. According to my battalion commander, and told him the Shaka Zulu story.
Shaka Zulu came about. His name was Kunk Buck. He got angry and then started killing people. But before that, they never actually fought a battle to where they kill each other. And then some fat ass white guy comes up and says, "How dare you talk about them that way?" I was like, "What are you talking about, bro?" And he's like, "I used to work with them." I was like, "Who the fuck's them?" And he's like, "Black people." So it's like, wait, I'm racist for teaching African history, but you're calling people them. You're not the same type of person. And then I was like, I didn't mean to. It turned out to me fucking flipping shit. Just like he said something, I was like, "Please be quiet and step away from our table, sir." Begin to drink. Said something. I Marine Corps flip shit and beat the fuck out of him and then run. Never went back to that bar ever again.
Probably a good idea.
Yeah,
Don't
I come
hang
back
out
to my
there.
wife and I have blood on me. I'm like, what if I died? She's like, "Where have you been? You disappeared. You're coming back home and covered in fucking blood.
And
What the fuck's wrong with you?"
he just keeps saying Shaka Zulu, Shaka Zulu.
Shaka Zulu. I was upset, bro. I was like, dude, I fucking love people. Like, I used to be such a corporal nice guy. I was like, I fucking love people, and I'm just trying to tell a story about education, and then this motherfucker comes up and picks a fight with me. Like, what the fuck, you know? So that's the society we live in. It's like everything I say, I fucking offend people somehow. So I just,
Well, it's
That
like,
happens.
I tell people if you want to experience time travel, go to the Middle East because they are basically in the fucking Stone Age.
yeah.
Like,
That's a good point.
they don't even own brooms. They use fucking palm fronds and they fucking sweep their dirt little driveway.
Hey, for women, this is targeted to the women who don't think we need to be over there liberating the country. We didn't need to be over there. Who wants to say that? Why don't you go over there? And why don't you go over there and tell those motherfuckers anything? Just say a word to them, and they're just going to hit you and throw rocks at you because they don't think women deserve to speak.
You ever watched? It was a while after we took the city. It had to have been October or November, and no, it was right about the time that we were letting people back in for the. So it was probably January, letting people back into the city for the elections because they extended us just for the security for the elections. And I watched 3 grown-ass men sit there squatting in front of the rubble that used to be their house while their wife and 3 daughters, all under the age of 10, cleaned. Like, picked up fucking rubble.
Yeah.
And I was just thoroughly disgusted with these 3 dudes.
Yeah, it's like that's how they're just like they just walked around in the street saying, "Give me this, give me that." Where you look over in the fields and you see the women just out there going to town. It's like, why the fuck don't the women just beat the shit out of these little skinny bastards? Like, why don't they just rip them in half? They were all like, how do they even like intelligence? How do they even run it? I don't even get how it works. But hey, whatever. It's not. We're in America now, I guess. You know, like the whole world's not behind.
Aspect of their society, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, and they want to say that it's just like, I'm sorry, I might be the dick, and you guys, anybody can put me on blast, motherfuckers, but it's not a fucking better society. In fact, it's garbage. So fuck you. Let's go. Blast me. Like,
I think.
I'm not saying the Arabic religion is garbage, by the way. That's not what I said. I said the society over there is garbage. Like everybody else, even here in America, we have misinterpreted these religious texts, or maybe the religious texts are changed for the betterment of some rich guy. That's probably the more truth anyway. But
So we have a thing that we try to do with our military guests, and usually we forget about it, but I didn't forget about it this time, but it's your list of favorites. So I'm going to basically name something, and you're going to say what your favorite, whatever corresponds to the question is,
Okay.
So what is your favorite MRE?
Chicken cavatelli.
Good choice.
original. That's original.
What was your favorite piece of gear? No weapon, not like non-weapon, like.
MRE spoon.
Oh my God, dude! I forgot about the MRE spoon.
Fucking MRE. Having to use your debit card as a spoon? You didn't like that?
No, dude, no, MRE spoon because it has so many uses. How many headsets did you see that had an MRE spoon taped to that motherfucker?
Exactly.
Like, and then every I think most grunts had an MRE spoon somewhere on their body, whether
On
they
their
had
flat.
eaten MRE
Yeah.
in a week.
It was usually on their flack, like right here.
Right there, on the over the heart, of course. Duh.
What is your favorite weapon?
MK153, small.
Of course. How many houses did you blow down? Do you have a number on how many houses you blew down?
I
with that?
could not tell you.
You really couldn't fucking tell me, God.
No, a
What?
lot.
Why weren't you in charge of our whole platoon?
Because I got in trouble.
I remember that.
I mean, I'll tell you guys. I mean, you're recording. I don't care that you're recording, but I'll tell you what happened.
I mean, what happened? Yeah.
Hold on.
Okay.
We'll get
Well,
there.
okay.
We'll
Okay.
finish our list.
We'll finish your questions, and I'll tell you what happened.
What was your favorite rank?
Corporal,
What was your favorite duty station?
3-1.
Uh,
Pendleton.
what is your favorite crayon flavor?
What?
What's your favorite crayon flavor?
Green.
Ah, that's grape. Fuck yeah. Man, you have a lot of shit in common.
And did you ever eat the charms?
Yes.
As did I. I ate my charms after they were taped to my truck because I was fucking we would run out of chew, and I was having fucking fits. So I went out to the truck and I cut them off my truck, and I was like, "Let me fucking die. I don't give a shit."
We were sitting in Iraq, and I swear it hadn't rained in like 3 weeks. And I open up my MRE, and I don't remember which MRE it was, and I'm sitting there, and I pull them out, and my buddy Bubba looks at me. He's like, "Don't fucking do it." And I was like, "I'm doing it." It literally pissed all over us for like days after that. It was right during the temperature change too. I wish I would have known better, but I didn't at the time. So.
I've never even seen a charm ever.
I found them in one MRE, and it was in.
They were a lot more common when I came back to the fleet with you guys. You almost never found them. There was like always Skittles or fucking M&Ms. So
Never had the opportunity to eat them.
Well, we were sitting in a mount town one time during our first workup, and like somebody they had Skittles, and they opened it, and then they had won the contest inside, but it had expired like 4 years prior.
No, that's how they do it, the motherfuckers.
ain't that about a motherfucker?
But I think the one that I got charms in was at OP Ferris in Iraq, so I'm pretty sure that it had probably been left over from earlier OIF units.
It gave me superpowers. No, you have cancer.
Okay, so if you want to say why you got in trouble, that's up to you. I think I know what you're talking about.
Okay, so I was a section leader before I went to school, right? So I went to school. I made it all the way through. And then we got to the night before graduation. And all of us went out and got fucking drunk and fucked up. And I hooked up with some fucking scallywag and ended up back south of base from where we had. Huh?
I'm laughing.
Oh.
Ended up south. How far south? We talking Tijuana south?
No.
Oh, okay.
I lived in Oceanside at the time. Actually, I lived in Carlsbad. Rankle was actually my roommate.
Oh shit.
In my apartment. It was Rankle, my buddy he was an air winger. And like we were high school buddies, and Rankle all lived in the same apartment. But anyways.
Hey.
So that's not nice. But
yeah, Joey, you suck.
So the night of platoon sergeant's course graduation, I make it back to my apartment with this chick, do whatever we're gonna do, and I swear to this day that they had told us that, hey, if you guys don't, what is that place called? It's called the Bunker, and it's on SOI. And we were supposed to have our little fucking class party there, but we didn't have it there. And they were like, hey, if we use the thing, we're gonna show up at 08 and we're gonna clean the fucking bunker, and then we'll go to the graduation at 9. Well, we didn't use it, so I didn't worry about it till waking up till 8:30. But at like 8:05, I'm getting my fucking phone blown up, and I was like, "Hey, what's up?" They're like, "Dude, where the fuck are you? What are you doing right now?" And I was like, I just rolled out of the rack. I'm getting ready to come in for graduation." He's like, "No, motherfucker, you need to be here right now." And I was like, "Oh shit!" So I hop in my truck and I start heading to fucking Pendleton. I looked at my gas tank, and I was like less than like that much from E, and I was like, I can make it to Pulgus. So I get to Pulgus, and I'm still going pretty good, and I was like, fuck it, I'll try to make it all the way to Honor Fray. And I ran out of gas.
Damn.
So I'm stuck on the highway. I had to get a fucking highway patrol guy to get there. Somebody from my class tried to fucking cover for me and told some type of fib about I was getting fucking shots or something. Anyways, long story short, I missed fucking graduation.
Oh, so they didn't give you the certificate.
Oh, no, I got the certificate, but I also got an adverse fit rep for missing graduation. When I got back to the battalion, I got my ass chewed by a couple different people, and then Gunny Homer and them were like, "Dude, why didn't you just call me?" And I was like, "I'm going to call you and tell you that I'm probably still a little bit lit. And I'm going to miss my graduation." And he's like, "Well, we could have unfucked this." But anyways, story short, that's how I lost my section.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, it wasn't like, so what I hear about back in the day whenever you were in Phantom Fury and all that shit, they would have fucking covered for you and people would have got your back, but we were in Corporal Maxim out.
Honestly, if I'm convinced to this day that had I called Gunny Homer, he would have covered for me. Like,
Probably.
he would have worked it out. And to come find out, Gunny Homer was working on a meritorious staff sergeant package for me that I completely just threw out the fucking window.
Wow.
You're the second person that I know that has gotten in trouble in between basically their final and their graduation, like your final exam or your practical, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Like the other one was Queller. He got a DUI driving to his graduation for machine gun leaders, and so technically he graduated, but then he came and got busted down.
No, they graduated me. I got my certificate. It was on Marine Online, all that other stuff. I got credit, but I got an adverse fit rep. So
yeah,
that's how I lost my section. And then now that I know that he's passed, I almost feel bad about saying it. Me and Angulo got into it a bunch of times because things were going wrong and he was blaming you guys for mistakes that he was making. And I got fucking sick of it. And that turned into a whole thing. So that didn't make anything better. That's why I ended up going to work for, what was the blonde guy's name?
Wilson.
That's why I ended up going to work for Wilson.
And he might have got that meritorious. He might have been a great person in his previous unit. He was a shitbag for us. And I don't give a shit.
Honestly, Wilson was good for a long time. And then he fucked up and he just kept fucking up.
Yeah.
As far as from my point of view, he fucked up, and then turned his shit around when they gave him the opportunity. But I don't know what happened after we left, but I felt like the rest of that deployment, he was good.
Yeah, I mean, like,
he was lazy.
He was fucking lazy, yeah, and maybe for a good reason. But like he was authoritarian, and that's a psychology definition. Authoritarian.
Well, I mean, he was also a new sergeant, and I mean, there's some growing pains there. Mm-hmm. You also got to understand that he was a new sergeant and had been corporal with a bunch of the rest of you motherfuckers. So that had to have been difficult for him. I mean, when I got promoted to corporal and I was in charge of like 3 dudes that I had been with for 4 fucking years, that was tough because I'm like, I'm not sure what to do with my hands right now.
Dude, I'm the one to talk too, by the way. I mean, like, obviously we all know good old Joey here.
Honestly, I felt like I failed you guys on a regular basis. And I was like, you know what? At the end of the day, as long as I bring everybody home alive, I'll be fine. Like, it's fine. No matter how fucked up I was or how fucked up like a football bat I managed to fucking act around these dudes, as long as nobody loses any fucking limbs and everybody comes back good, I guess we'll be all right.
Well, you weren't the one that lost their fucking radio in East Timor, were you?
No.
Yeah, you remember that shit? Fucking get all.
Oh, I remember that distinctly.
I took a nap during that because they were like had us. We were just standing on the road for something, and I had because we were running the little op missions the night before, the little secret squirrels, and I lost the inserts for my glasses, so I'm basically blind. I can't see shit.
Yeah.
And so I was like, fuck it. And I was like the last guy in line. And I was like, hey, we're being tactical, right? And somebody goes, yeah. So I fucking turn around and I get off the road into like the grass and I lay down.
Yeah.
They're like, what are you doing? I was like, I got rear security. And I was
That's a very Nard thing to do. That's a straight up Nard thing to do. Right?
And then I fell asleep. And I was like, fuck it. And I was for sure somebody would come, yell at me and I'd get back up and be like, ha ha ha, and go get back in line. I was asleep for a good 20 minutes. It was a good nap.
Oh, that's because we were there for a while.
Yeah. So I was like, fuck it, dude.
Radio.
Like, it was stupid. I didn't lose a fucking radio. I didn't lose a fucking. But yeah, I pretended to search with everybody else because I couldn't see shit.
Dude, somehow 1-4 brought the worst into everybody. Even Anglo, I kept tabs on him after I got out, like fresh after I got out, and he felt like shit for how he was in 1-4. So I mean, it felt like it was just the war had been raging on, and a bunch of people that were just tired from it ended up in our battalion, and that makes fucking sense, man. There's no animosity. So when I say Wilson was shitty, I don't mean you're a shitbag human being. I just mean just looking you in the eye.
Everybody's got their opinions.
Yeah.
I mean, that's gonna be what it is.
I wish I would have just had the balls to say it back then because I didn't know any better. And maybe that would have helped fix some shit. But you're not a shitty person. Wilson's not a shitty Marine. He got a NAM. He did some cool shit from the sounds of it. So I mean,
it's when you think back on it, it's like I wish I could have done this. I wish I could have done that. But it's like I think a problem with Wilson was he got lazy. Like 1-4 kills your fucking dreams.
Yeah.
And
everybody who was trying to stay, like you said, I'm staying in as long as I can. You got the fuck out.
Yeah. My career plan was I was going to do 20 plus years. You were going to do 20 plus years, and then fucking 4. And I'm like, dude, I can't do it.
My own mistake is ultimately what did it for me. Like me fucking up the way I did. Like I was never going to be a gunner after that. And me looking at reality as it stood, it's like, well, I can stand, and if I stick it out, I can probably make gunny, maybe first sergeant one day, but I will never be a gunner now. It's not going to happen. And with that realization, and then with Rankle dying, with another buddy of mine named Burry, who was with 3-1 at the same time when not the exact same time, but during the same deployment with 3-1. He died. A couple of my buddies that were already out, talking to them, it just wasn't worth it for me anymore.
Yeah, fuck dying for these bastards.
I tell a lot of people, like, I didn't know I was getting out till I decided I was done. When I was done was probably about halfway through that deployment because I couldn't see past my fuck up. And yeah, I talked to Gunny Homer and Lieutenant just called me not that long ago.
Reed?
Yeah, Reed called me a while back just to check in on me. But like I talk to them all the time. Like I talk to them on a regular basis, trying to like psych myself up, figure out what the fuck I was gonna do. Yeah. And I couldn't get past it because Gunny Homer was probably my biggest cheerleader when he's like, dude, if you want to get out, go. That's what you need to do. Because a couple of the staff NCOs, and actually Jeff was one of the ones that was, hey, look, you fucked up, but you can do this, this, and this. He was actually cool to me about my situation. But ultimately I just, like, it's just, no.
Yeah.
Because the XO, I can't remember that guy's name.
Well, the Marine Corps was downsizing too, so the job.
Well, the battalion XO tried to get me to stay for the next deployment to be headquarters platoon sergeant, and I was like, yeah, no.
Especially on a Mew? Fuck that.
Yeah.
Fuck no. To get shit on, that's can I shit on you on a daily basis? Or is
Yeah,
that 'cause
exactly.
yeah, that's what he was asking. Let me just.
Well, I mean, I'm organized, and I think that's what he liked, because for most of the stuff we were doing before the workup, and what for y'all's workup, like it was easy. It wasn't hard to do. He just used to having a bunch of shitbag sergeants, because who goes to headquarters? Shitbags. So, or guys that are about to get out.
So, can you offer some insight onto the transformation that takes place between sergeant and staff sergeant that causes somebody to become a dickhead? Why does a rocker turn somebody into a dickhead? I saw it happen a few times. And
My personal opinion is because that transition point from sergeant to staff sergeant, it's not really the transition from sergeant to staff sergeant. It's the realization once you get to staff sergeant that your career, the focus of the rest of your career can be right here. And if you fuck up or you don't politic the right way, your career can be halted relatively quickly. And that was a small aspect in my whole decision-making process, but I got to see the politics firsthand as a section leader when it was me, Gunny Homer, dealing with a lot of it in the beginning. And then once they made me headquarters platoon sergeant, I got to watch how all the staff NCO sections interacted, like when I had to go deal with S3 and master guns and stuff like that. Because at that time, like, I got treated like a staff NCO on the one hand, but anytime it came down to like a challenge situation, well, I'm a staff sergeant, you're a sergeant. And I'm like, all right, dickhead, look, I got a job to do. You got a job to do. Let's fucking do this. But I really think it's knowing that like everything, this is a hinge point, you know, it's a decision point, and it will impact the rest of your fucking career from here on out. And if you don't play it correctly, you're going to go a direction you don't necessarily want to go. And I think people get scared and they're afraid to be themselves and be the people that they were when they, especially guys that were really good sergeants, when they get fucking real scared once they move from that. And then for guys like Angulo in his position, every guy I knew that went recruiting duty was like, this was the worst decision ever. I had guys literally describe to me that they would get in the car in the morning and decide, like, try to decide whether they wanted to drive their car off a fucking cliff or they actually wanted to go to that office.
I bet.
Dude.
And then with drill instructors, they work those dudes like fucking slaves, man. Like, you wonder why they spew such hate and discontent? They fucking get rode and rode and rode and rode. And that seems to be that's the whole thing as a staff sergeant. You're stuck in the middle. You're trying to do right by your guys, but you get shit on from the top on a regular basis. And they don't fucking care how much work they're throwing on you. They don't care how long you fucking work. They don't care no matter what they tell you, they don't care whether you see your kids or not. And that's what does it to guys.
Well, that fucking makes
so much
whole lot of
pressure.
sense. That fucking makes
So
sense.
much fucking pressure. I mean, some guys just fucking suck, all right? I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. You're going to have people that just don't need to be in that job, but they've managed to be in long enough that they got promoted to that point. But you got guys like, what was the tall black guy, the staff sergeant? He was like a terminal staff sergeant?
Yeah, Williams, because he punched yeah.
Yeah. That dude was a fucking G.
Like, it was a motherfucking G.
Did, no, I mean, every fucking thing that dude did was about his Marines and not doing wrong by him. Would he fuck you up if you fucked up? Yes. But besides that, he might not say it to your face, but he had your back.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a bunch of staff NCOs that did not like that, especially gunnies and first sergeant.
Yeah.
Like, I watched him motherfuck your old first sergeant twice in a meeting.
I watched him call him out in front of the company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that guy was awesome.
Yeah. It looked just like fucking Birdie.
It sucks that guys like him get stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And the politicians get promoted, but that's the nature of the world.
Dude, when they said Bernie Mac died, I fucking was like freaking the fuck out. But they're like, no, the real Bernie Mac. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
thank God. Thank God. No, sorry, Bernie Mac friends. Bernie Mac's a great guy, but Staff Sergeant Williams, he's
that
my
dude was awesome.
Well, because my example for the question that I posed was Rev. He went from a really cool sergeant, a really cool, I got your back. I'll put my chevrons up and get you what you need. And then when he got that rocker, he was a dick. And it was like, you try to have the same sort of interaction with him. And he was just, I don't know. Like, that's why, like, I used to say that people fall under the weight of the rocker. When it gets on, you either become like a more stellar leader, or you become almost ostracize yourself from the guys that would have followed you into, hell. It's like, dude, like I always figured that, the night before you get promoted, they would come in and like fucking cut your brain out or something. And fucking
from a child's point of view, yes.
I don't know. Obviously my interactions with Rev were probably different from you guys. My interactions with it, I mean, the perspective, like, that never changed a whole lot. But then again, you would think that it's not very far difference between you guys or me. I mean, because there really wasn't. Maybe a couple more years experience, but then again, like, the things he did would impact guys at your level a lot more than it would me. So, because, I mean, like, you guys might not have saw it as much. I mean, it happened with me and Jaquez a couple times, but like, we'd motherfuck each other left and right when we weren't around you guys if we thought something was being fucked up. Like, I told you, me and Angulo got into it all the fucking time. So,
well, that's why it's so memorable.
And then it's also important to have sergeants that mean what they say when it comes to that, to deal with the staff NCOs. Like, I would tell, like, I'd never once motherfuck Gunny Homer, so don't misconstrue that. But I would tell Gunny Homer when I thought he was wrong.
Yeah,
because me and Jaquez, we were it. Like, we were the only buffer you guys had between Gunny, but Gunny was a fucking good. I don't know what y'all's opinion of him was, but I thought Gunny always did right by you guys. So,
yeah, I always, Gunny Homer was like, obviously, like a hero, like somebody like you see on paperwork, but for me, as from a child's point of view, I had resentment towards Gunny Homer, and then I grew up and understand shit a little bit better, because we were just children. But
I mean, he was harder on you guys than I was, or Jaquez was. Jaquez tried to protect you guys like on a regular basis, and there's a couple times I'm like, dude, you can't do this. You can't be their friend all the fucking time. You just can't, because you're gonna fuck them. But
yeah,
I mean,
again,
there's that balance, and there's that. Am I doing it right? Am I doing it right? It's not being a parent, but it's like the closest thing you can be without actually having something of yours that's actually your living, breathing tissue. So,
right, and that's my regret. Is like, I wish I just would have been more mature. That's basically the only thing I have that's fucked up. More mature. That way, yeah, some of the shit didn't go down the way it did. That's a me fucking problem, and I can know that's a me problem, and that's why I want to get Gunny Homer on here, too. Because
good luck finding him.
Yeah.
We'll find that.
Yeah, I've done, like, every once in a while, I'll try to search up, old
He'll
people,
find us.
and
he'll find us.
He's got like nothing out there, man.
I know. We'll get something out there. He'll find us.
I'm actually not convinced that he's still in the United States.
Probably not. He always talked about him and his wife and how they traveled.
His wife Malin was from Sweden,
and
he always talked, like, part of the reason he was like my biggest cheerleader when I had mentioned getting out was because he's like, I don't even know why I'm still.
That's kind of the feeling I got was like a gunnery sergeant that had dropped their pack almost.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's what I got.
Was kind of going through the motions. Like, he knew he knew what the right thing to do was, and he tried to do that, but he also, like, as far as what I saw, was he wouldn't kind of fight back so hard. You know, like
Oh, he did, and he got smacked down on a regular. Like 1-4 wore him the fuck out.
yeah, and that's why we say 1-4 is where careers go to die.
Yeah, and all
So.
I would. That's why I want to get First Charge out of here. It's like, what's your story? Because we got, because I do. That's all I really remember from Gunny Homer is our little thing we used to do. But up, you suck, and that's it. That's like how I remember Gunny Homer telling us we suck.
I remember his reaction. Remember the video that Rosie made
Yeah.
for the Mew, the slideshow and everything, was when we did all the bios at the end with the made up names and shit. When we got there, he saw it and he chuckled. He went, huh. And it was like, yes, like we cracked him.
Yeah, well, we cracked him with the Gil antics too.
He's like Gunny was he was a funny motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
But he had a real dry humor. Like, you guys would be doing something, and we'd be looking at it like, that's not going to go well. And he'd make some fucking wisecrack, and you're just like...
Did that just happen?
I remember I was on duty one time, and remember when the duty hut was in the squad bay next to, like, where... So, and then on the other end... was the like the guys that were getting kicked out and shit like that, like all the people and broke dicks and shit. And we were doing something, and it was only me on duty. And so in the orders it said that I could sleep between like midnight and 04, and then wake up at 04 and do rounds and sound reveille and all that shit. And I remember he was OD, and he came and he like wakes me up and he kicks the bed, and he's like, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, "I'm on duty." He goes, "Good, because I was looking for the duty." And he's like, "Why are you in bed?" And I was like, "The order states that I can sleep since I don't have an A duty." He goes, "If that's what it says, good work." And then he's like I was still limping a little bit because when I was in a cast, my leg got smaller. And he was he's like, "Why are you limping?" And I was like, "Oh, I broke my foot in Iraq." And he's like, "That sucks." And he's like, "If I pushed you down the stairs right now, do you think it would break again?" And I was like, I don't know. And he's like,
"Yeah, that's the type of shit he would say." Yeah.
It's just super dry. But then he was like I would look back and like look at his face, and he'd be like smirking. And it was like, okay, that's like, you're not actually gonna fucking push me down the stairs right now.
I mean, he might, but
he could have, but
no. I'm from my perspective and every interaction I had with him, Gunny Homer tried to have everybody's back. The lieutenant tried to have everybody's back.
Oh yeah, we know. Oh, good old
like,
Trevin.
The guys on the second floor offices did their best just to beat the fuck out of the battalion.
Where that's what I'm saying. We're gonna trace this line to figure out.
It's like fucking. Remember when Sadler got NJP'd? Sadler and Chavez. Well, no, it wasn't Chavez. It was that whole group.
Yeah.
When I had to go talk to fucking the sergeant major after he was done with you guys, it was just like, this guy's fucking unbelievable.
It was. I don't even know how to do
it.
Yeah.
Because
I seriously thought those motherfuckers were racist. That's how it felt to me, and I'll say that.
I never got that from him. It was just like,
that was a child. That's from a child's point. That's me being a child. As a child. That's how I thought.
He thought of the world in terms of the drill field, and
He used to brag about, obviously we had the giant red board out front, and that was due to our first workup. Joey was because of all the shenanigans and shit. Because he was our sergeant major in Iraq too, and he used to brag about the amount of rank that he'd taken away. He knew he was like, 63 lance corporals, 74 corporals. And it was like and he saved their fucking chevrons. He had them on a board.
Yeah, it's like, you don't want to help us, motherfucker.
And it's
you
like,
want to watch me burn.
That's a reflection on your leadership. That's, and I think our first chain of command, like in Iraq, kind of kept him at bay a little bit. But then once they all filtered out, he had been dug in for so long that he knew how to get down to us.
Yeah.
It was bad. But we just crossed the 3-hour mark, so
Yeah,
Oh, shit, have we been talking that long?
girls, the referee's black. I can't keep her contained anymore. She needs.
All right.
So we will
Cute
get
kid.
we'll get the rest of your story in your next episode. So we're blackmailing you to get you to come back.
Yeah, we got to have you back because there's a lot of, you know, what the hell have you been doing in the civilian? Are you going to be that history teacher you always wanted to be, or what's up with that?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen at this point. But till next time, then.
All right, we'll talk to you later. Joe, you clear?
I'm all clear, brother.
All right. Take it easy.
All right, later.
Bye.